Hello, everybody. Welcome to a quarterfinals matchup in Frank's retirement home Walker Division. We have 4 seed Bodega Hive facing off against the Gauntlet winners. The 11 seed, now 8 seed Killer Kappas coming in hot. I'm your chair one, T Pity one. We've got Ruler of Men on the spectate, and we have a legend here. Mr. Pentakill himself, Barry Toppings, on the chair two. How excited are we for this matchup, Barry?
I'm very excited. It's a very important set, and it's a set I've been looking forward to casting since I heard it was happening.
Yeah, just right on into it. We're looking through these first three bands. We see from Bodega, starting off with the Ganesh band, Nemesis, and Thanatos, all good bands. Formless, huge on that Thanatos and player. Played Ganesh, I think, every single game of the Gauntlet. So, in response, Kappas go for Charon, Giannis, and Najah. Not sure too much about the Giannis band, but Kaiba's a good mid laner. He can kind of play anything in mid. And we're right through top three picks. Hachi, first pick by Bodega, one of Ogenson's classics. Pretty much the best hunter in the game, I would say. And Agni Odin on the other side, can't really go wrong with either of those two very strong gods.
Yeah, I think like you see some pretty heavy formal spans here. If there's one player in the Walker Division League that I can think of when I hear Thanatos, it's Formless. Um, Hachiman, I've said it before, open chat. Is just like the most obnoxious hunter that you can play against because he wins lane. It doesn't matter what starter he goes. He has infinite mana. He's safe. And you're gonna pair that with a Terra and a Raven. Should be some pretty solid pressure. And then on the other side with the Odin and the Agni, if Odin hits his cages properly, and Artemis is interesting. But again, it just kind of lets his mid laner and his ADC get that extra damage in. There's no healing inside of Odin Cage. It just has a lot of value.
Yeah, yeah, and for Bodega, picking up the Raven and the Terra, is something I like. Terra only really been played by Derry and seen a little bit outside of that, but that's one of his best gods. He's a menace on this Terra, and we both know Terra nowadays very strong with the buffs she recently got, and a lot of comfort coming out here. I would say the only non-comfort pick I see is probably the Odin. I've never seen Freaky pull this one out, normally because the Odin gets banned, but um, looking at these top three, the is certainly something that sticks out. Not your traditional ADC in walkers, but if Shadow Skills is comfort on it, everyone says comfort is king in walkers. So looking through towards these bands in the second phase, we see a Merlin band coming out towards Kaiba, and in response, is that a Jing Tian? That's a Jing Tian band on the side of Bodega Hive, and I just want to point out the Charon band for Kappas also has been played in mid by Kaiba as we see a Thoth, yet another band. Looks like Kappas know their target and they know that they want to stop Kaiba Boy from being able to do his thing in mid.
Yeah, it's definitely, and we're gonna see a Geb ban here too. So one side mostly focusing on the support, one side mostly focusing on the mid laner. Um, and we did see player play Ganesha in the Gauntlet every single game and just make life miserable for everyone it went against. So I think just focusing out one player that you feel is the strongest um, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just kind of depends on how deep that person can go in their god pool.
Yeah, and Kaiba's shown a pretty decent god pool throughout the season. I mean, we've seen him on Giannis, on Thoth, on Kukul Khan, which I notice is notably an admission here from the bands and from the picks. He has taken a couple nerfs, not as dominant now, but still a good god. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't seen, a Cuckoo ban or even really a look in these picks. But back to Kaiba, yeah, very versatile player. Four bans towards him. He probably still has a couple more gods he can go to. But kind of steering it back to the topic, the top three for both teams. Which side are you kind of leaning towards just out of these top three as we see a Bacchus being hovered for Killer Kappas?
Oh man, I really like the Agni Odin on the Kappa side, and I really like the Hachiman Robin on the Bodega Hive side, but now that we know that the Bacchus is going to Kappas, I think I like their draft a little bit better so far. Um, just because Bacchus, he's extremely tanky with his passive, and he does a metric ton of damage. As anyone knows, you see those Bacchuses that'll throw in a Chronos Pendant first item instead of going to Thebes, and next thing you know, you're getting half health by a Bacchus ult.
Yeah, Bacchus is certainly one of the more annoying supports to play against in lane. I'd argue, Bacchus, you have your Terra. Athena's obviously not any fun to go against. I will say we've never seen player on Bacchus. We haven't really seen him on too many of these aggressive picks. He normally leans more towards a Ganesh, towards a Kepri. These more backline support styles. A Geb is another one of his picks, as we saw it try to get banned away from him. But going towards that aggression, I like. I think that you can punch Bodega in the face in this duo lane, as we see Cerberus Scylla locked in for Bodega Hive, because Ogenson is a new ADC. I think this might be his third game in the ADC. He's normally a support player, so if you can bring out some aggression in that lane and try and throw him off his game, I think it could be pretty good. We do see the Serb solo locked into face against the Odin. How do you like that matchup in the solo lane?
I'm not a huge fan of Serb into Odin. Um, and we're gonna see a Pele lock in as well. I actually really like the Pele for the Kappas here. Sets up really nice, just gets in there, does a lot of damage. Agni can clean up really easily off of that. But I'm not a big fan of the Serb into Odin just because outside of that early game clear, I feel that Serb just falls off way too hard come that like mid to late game area, that 25 to 30-minute mark. And Odin keeps his value a lot. He's got a shield, he's really hard to kill. He's got, currently in this patch, probably going to go with the Bobble build, have that 50% cooldown reduction. Just spamming his ult every 10 seconds is what it feels like. So
Yeah,
I,
and I will say, you can go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I think that like 1 through 3, the Cerberus is better than the Odin's 1 through 3 for sure. But when it comes to the team fights, the Odin is just gonna carry the game with his cages. I feel like.
Yeah, when it comes to late game, that Odin, if he's good with his cages, if Freaky knows how to play them, then I don't think there's many gods in the game that have more value than the Odin at this point. He's just so good, whether he uses his cage for peel, whether it's to engage, to lock off a target, even just for sieges to just space out the enemy team. It's just you're gonna get such good value out of it. And when it comes along with the Agni who has those bombs, you can stun into an Odin cage, and the Artemis with that great AoE ultimate. I really like the way the Kappa's draft is looking right now. The only one out of place I would say might be the Pele, but that's just great. Pick out a target, knock him up, Odin cage, Agni bomb. You got the Tusky coming out from the Artemis, and it's just kind of dead. You just kind of can select your target and take them out of a team fight. On Bodega Hive's side, I think the Scylla ult is going to be good for the team fights as well. Hachiman, you raved on about it. Just best hunter in the game, super safe, able to just put damage out, pump numbers with his one and the stim he gets from his two. If if I had to take a side, I mean, I honestly for comfort, I like the Bodega Hive side, but team comp, if they can run it effectively, Kappas are just very hard to beat. So I do this to all of my tier twos. I'm going to do it to you as well. Who are you leaning towards in this game one?
So, with the exception of the Artemis, I like Killer Kappa's team comp way better. Um, I think this game's going to Kappa's based off of their team comp here. Their team fights better. Um, their team fights better, and like if you're looking at early game damage, the Pele is going to out damage the Robin early game. She's got better clear. She's got a knock up, and that's a hard CC rather than a soft CC on the Robin route. Um, and on top of that, you can't take away Pele's passive early game. The healing is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and as we get into this game one of this quarterfinal set, we see the Artemis Shadow Skills wrapping around trying to find something. Beads already expended off of him super early. And like we said, this Terra is just going to be a menace in the early game. And, we had some action early, but looking at these builds, is there anything you see that, a difference or anything that you don't really like looking at them?
I do notice that the Artemis looks like she's going more of a ability-based Artemis, which, come that mid to late game, she's gonna be slapping, but they're gonna kind of lack in that objective shred. And the Hachi goes towards that death toll, which is interesting. I've been seeing a lot of the mannequins, a little bit of arrow coming out, and I don't really feel like Hachi uses any of these starter items wrong. I just think there's depending on how you play is really going to define which star item you get on him.
Which, speaking of playing, we got a fight going down in mid. Lots of poke coming out onto both junglers. Socks and Formless both taking a little over half their health bar. But looks like both sides are going to get out and just reset unless they decide to stay, and they do. And the Hachiman, like you said, the death toll certainly isn't wrong. Um, the thing is, with his passive, you just get so much MP5 that you don't get as much value out of the death toll for mana since he's not as mana hungry as most ADCs. But like you said, can't really go wrong with it. We see identical starts for the jungles. Sansa time versus Conduit Gem in mid on Scylla and Agni. You've seen a lot more of the Conduit Gem recently. Which side do you kind of lean more towards when it comes to that? I think I'm definitely more of a Conduit Gem enjoyer.
I think for the type of mids that I like to play, I do like the Conduit Gym in its current state better. But I definitely understand the reason is we're going to see a fight come out here. Artemis looks like she's going to get away all right this time. Uh, but I understand why Deacon opted towards this Sands of Time. He's gonna probably go into Spirit Desolation here. He's gonna have a ton of cooldown early. When he hits 5, he's just gonna be able to spam a lot more abilities than Scylla is.
Yeah, maybe looking for a Bobble on Agni. I know Bobble's not really a mage thing. I've seen it built on Agni a couple times. You get that nasty cooldown on his Agni bombs, and it ends up going really well. And little bit of aggression from both sides early. Nothing too much so far. I'm kind of looking at Formless if we want to see that. And of course, as soon as I say that, Derry picks up first blood on Shadow Skills. First blood of the set goes over to Bodega Hive, and Derry picks up the first kill of this quarterfinal set on the Terra. Like we said, gonna be a menace, gonna be super aggressive in lane, and I think the Bacchus was picked to kind of counteract that. But giving this Hachi an early small lead is not exactly something you want to see, as we see the blink in from Ravana looking for an early pick onto this Odin, but your Cerberus is still level 4. Odin does have that ultimate, he does have the cage to try and get away, and he's just not even gonna have to use it. He's just gonna walk away and be perfectly fine. As we
And
see the
you're
first gank attempt of the set go to Socks, and a bit of a fail.
give me 1 second here, guys.
Alrighty, well, we go back into the action. We see both sides just kind of pressure and outlane. We see Killer Kappas going over towards that shield buff. We might see a little bit of a conflict. Decide to drop it. Who's going to grab that? That's going to go the way of Killer Kappa's first shield buff in that duo lane over to them. But yeah, the first gank comes out onto the solo lane side, which is going try and relieve some pressure from that Cerberus. Exactly what we want to see as we see the double wall hit from the Terra, the knockup from Bacchus able to peel his Artemis out, but beads used once again. Shadow Skills looking like he wants to keep those beads on permanent cooldown for the first 5 minutes.
Alright,
And ultimate expended too.
apologies about that. Had a creepy lurker around the house. You're gonna see a gank
All
come out
good.
from
We
this
see the
Robin.
king come out. Robin looking for the kill onto the Artemis, second death of the game. The knockup from Bacchus going to be able to peel him out, and that's a great job by player Hone, able to keep his Artemis safe. And we've seen a lot more activity out of Robin early than we have out of the Pele, which is kind of averse to what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it. You definitely want that early activity out of your Robin. Pele is kind of farming up a little bit more, not really going for these massive ganks. As you do see, she has a full Jotuns here. The Robin does not. Um, and that can really be a difference maker in the early game. Just having your Jotuns online before the enemy jungler does. Um, yeah, he is getting a lot of value, but as we've seen, his ganks haven't been super successful so far.
Yeah, and we have seen this from Sox, kind of sacrificing his farm in order to get some lane pressure in his lanes, and it's certainly a strategy. You see a lot of junglers, especially at this level, kind of employ as we see Pele on this left side, maybe looking for something to happen, but Sox is lurking in his own jungle. Looks like nothing's gonna happen. They're all just gonna back off and that I said anything, but we did see a small XP lead in this duo lane already, maybe about half a level in favor of Bodega Hive. That early kill onto Shadow Skill, able to kind of just give them a small start. But once again, like you said, the Jotun's already on the Pele, but Doc still hasn't backed yet. Still has not looked to get that first Jotun spike that you would get. Definitely has enough for it. Um, how are you liking the way both junglers are kind of playing this game, and overall just the map state from both of them?
So far it's pretty even. I mean, yeah, you can say that he's getting pressure and stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of this just kind of W key at people constantly. Like he's running at the Bacchus here, he never kills him, wasting abilities, half mana. At this point, he could have done backed, got his got his Jotuns, maybe a couple wards, went into the jungle, got some farm. You know, um, I'm not downplaying what he's doing because getting relics and abilities and stuff is obviously good, but I think he's selling himself short here by not having the extra power and cooldowns.
And like you said, that back that he did not take earlier is going to cause him to lose that totem camp to the Pele. Formless already building up a small lead over Nutsox in that jungle. We see a level lead for Kappas in mid and jungle, and a level lead in duo lane for Ogenson on this Hachiman. Not something exactly you want to see as we see the gank come out. Formless picks up the first kill for Kappas onto Perp Kool-Aid. Now 0-1 on the Cerberus. We already saw a small lead developing for the Odin. That's just going to make it even bigger. And we see the counter gank coming in. The blink from Notsox looking for the kill on the Pele. Odin jumps in and is going to manage to peel the Ravana off of the Pele. As I'm a Monster comes in from Deacon comes in from Kaiba looking to clean up. Does not hit. I'm just so used to Deacon playing that Scylla that I just automatically called it out. But misses the I'm a Monster and is going to return back to mid lane. Another rough gank onto that solo lane, looking to try and help out Perp Kool-Aid on the Cerberus.
Yeah, unfortunately, like even even if they do get over there and he gets the return kill onto the Pele, which would have been great, the Odin's still there, and you at this point in time, you're just not gonna kill him. You saw the Scylla come over, she rotates, hits him with a crush, misses the ult, but she also lost out on farm doing that. So now we're gonna see the damage from the Agni come out. Good stun by the Terra to peel out the Scylla.
Your ultimate
She should
expended
go
in there,
down here.
chasing down. Looks like Derry's going to fall. He's on 1 HP. Formless manages to pick up his second of the game as we saw a fight going down in duo lane. Ogenson and Shadow exchanging ultimates, but looks like the invade for the blue buff is on. Formless is looking, and they're not going to be able to secure that invade as Herb Kool-Aid does a good job managing to secure the buff. That would have been a huge loss if, grab the kill onto the jungler, then get that blue invade right away. But these ADCs are looking like they're going to come out with some aggression trying to fight early, which is honestly not normally what you see out of Ogenson specifically. Not really much of a early game aggression, like we said. New to ADC, still learning his way into the role. So you don't normally see super early aggression from him, but you do see early aggression from these buffs. Might be giving him a little trouble. But fight over the totem in the solo lane goes like, yeah, he almost lost it to those buffs. So probably about 250 health, I would assume, because he does have that death toll. Gonna hit that back and a little bit ahead still in that dual lane as we see the cage from Odin come out in order to push Socks off. Ruler did not exactly like that attempt to get in on the Odin. And yeah, nothing's really going to happen there. You're just not going to do too much damage to that level 11 Odin.
Yeah, even if he gets in there, I mean, Odin's got a shield, he's got a leap. There's just no killing him at the moment. Like, he's pretty tanky. He's got a full pestilence, tier 2 breastplate, you know. So, um, one thing I do want to say though is, this Hachi's got a little bit of a lead on the Artemis, and that's got to be the reason that he's, just trying to push her out and push her out, push her out, because he is, in my opinion, the better hunter here. He's already got more items online. He's got the Xe, he's got a full stack Devos, so he can definitely pump out some damage in the 1v1s.
Yeah, and we did just see both ultimates exchanged again. Ogenson once again getting the better trade on that as we see a four-man rotation looking for this serve and the solo lane. Perp Kool-Aid just getting jumped and player going to be able to grab that kill as Formless was tanking the tower for the whole squad. And while they're over there on right side doing that, Bodega Hive's just gonna come and take this Gold Fury or attempt to, as we see Artemis is the only one there. Shadow Skills looking for the steal, coming in, and Kappas are gonna manage to steal
No!
it through the I am a monster. Shadow Skills grabs the steal onto the Gold Fury, and first gold's gonna go the way of Killer Kappas, and that's absolutely massive for them. It looks like Bodega is not happy. Odin drops the cage, looking for a fight, but man, they are just not doing much damage to him even with this Hachi's lead and the beads expended off of the Odin. Good damage, but you're never killing that Odin, even with 3 people there. And Beacon is the next objective up. We see the Kappas starting to swarm. Only Perp Kool-Aid there for now. Terra on the way. So is Ravana. And looks like we might have us a 4v4 with the Odin already at half health. Agni Bomb does come in, does some good damage, but Freaky G is on Scylla in the back. Kaiba under arrest, and the serve ult comes out to Peel, trying to look for this beacon, and there's a lot of damage going down on the Perp Kool-Aid. Looks like he might just fall. The Bacchus misses flop, and Perp Kool-Aid's going to walk out on 1 health, but Kappas will also claim the beacon. So that's a Gold Fury and the first beacon going the way of the Killer Kappas, and that's going to start building up a gold lead, about 2,500 gold, as Ogenson forced up into the mounted archery to get out of Shadow Skill's grasp. I think, no, Tusky wasn't expended then. It might have been. Tusky is down, but lots that just happened there. First Gold Fury and Beacon. Oh, thanks, Ruler. First Gold Fury and Beacon going the way of Killer Kappas.
Yeah, Kappa's looking really good there. Just tragic for Bodega Hive. Makes the right call. Gets the call out. There's four in solo lane. Are we looking at a PVE death here?
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it,
We might.
Ogenson. Don't do it.
Oh, woof.
Oh man, he
That was
is
a close
playing with
one.
his life on these buffs, man. Even with the
Yeah.
death toll, man, you gotta be careful.
So
As we
the
see
the
the Robin
Kappas are
jump
looking
in,
pretty good.
ultimate expended and not able to get anything onto the Agni, but yeah, back to what you were saying. Back to what you were saying.
Yeah, the Kappas are looking pretty good. They even with Bodega Hive making the right call, Scylla just not having the crush out there. A little late on the I'm a monster. Artemis just comes up and goes yoink mine, and then gets out. She doesn't even die.
Yeah, we are seeing a 4K XP difference coming out in favor of the Kappas, and that's gonna be pretty much all in jungle and in mid, a little bit in solo too. But
Am I
yeah,
looking at a
we see it
Stone
too.
of
Yeah,
Binding on the Pele here?
that could be exactly what you're looking at. I don't see why it would be anything else in that tree. Oh, it goes into it could go into Arch Druids, that's true. But like I want you to look at the Artemis build, and what do you think about the Transcendence and then the Devos? Is that something that you're really, I guess, keen on? As we see, wait, hold that thought. We see a gank coming out from the Robin,
Oh
and she's just
no.
dead.
Yeah,
Sox grabs the kill onto Shadow Skills, and
unfortunately that's part
Beads
of being an
pops by the
Artemis.
Hachiman.
That's part of being
And
an
that's
Artemis.
just kind of what you got to do. Yeah, you just kind of got to get gang. Pele looking for a gang. Odin Cage expended, looking for the kill onto Perp Kool-Aid. Not going to be able to grab it, but Scylla is here. Hits the stun. Beads expended. And hits the I'm a Monster onto Freaky G. Grabs his first death of the game. Kaiba picks up his first. And Pele is on the run. Sox looking for the kill. Not able to confirm it. And he's just going to beat up on the Bacchus, who drops ultimate on him just because. All the while, we see the Hachiman over and left pushing down that T1 tower. Crazy scenes as we see Bodega swarm for that Pyromancer looking for the first one of the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, not really getting a chance to analyze these fights because it's just going and going and going and not stopping.
Yeah, non-stop. It is non-stop.
But to answer your question about the double stacking, I'm not a big fan of it. It is going to give her a ton of power and a ton of damage to be using on the Tusky and the Hail of Arrows and stuff. But when I'm playing ADC, we're going to see Stygian Torment come out and just to peel off for the Robin. Um, Another fight breaking out here. But when I play ADC, I'm typically running, the arrow into a Silver Branch build. So it's a little
Oh,
different
as
than
we
what I would
see
like.
Hachi gets caught into the Odin cage, and they are just getting shredded. Formless grabs one. Deacon grabs Perp Kool-Aid, and that's going to be a quick two in the way of Killer Kappas picking up Perp and Ogenson. Great ultimate by Formless to get in there and just clean up by Deacon on the Agni. So far, that's kind of exactly what you wanted to see. That's what we were talking about in the pregame. The Odin cage into the Pele ult, and with the Agni bombs coming over the top is just kind of hell for anyone who gets caught. And Ogenson learned that the hard way.
Yeah, so we are gonna see the Archdruid's Fury come out here. Um, I'm not really sure why we're going Archdruids on the Pele here, but hey, if Formless likes it, let him play it, let him cook, you know? He's got a
Yeah,
two-level lead right now,
he is 3-0-2.
and
Doing
yeah,
something right.
I do want to talk a little bit about that fight over on the solo side there. You see the Odin, he uses the beads, gets out of the crush, but then he just kind of walks towards I'm a monster and dies, giving Scylla a reset on it.
As we see a Gold Fury fight go down, Kappas is going to grab it. They're also going to grab the kill onto the Robin who ulted in. Serb going to go down as well. Formless picks up a kill onto Perp Kool-Aid. That's going to be another two going the way of Agni or not Agni, of Odin and Pele. As we see five-man Kappas in this left jungle looking for something. Ogeson's going to step up, beads expended to get out of the Artemis trap, and Kappas are just going to be happy. They're going to back up, go towards Beacon, and then now it's early.
Yeah, they
Maybe
got
start setting up towards Fire Giant.
they got a lot. They got a lot out of that fight. I mean, you take a look at the relics, and you essentially got Hachi's beads for free. Gonna knock down a tier 1 tower here. Yeah, there's no reason for them not to at least posture for a fire. They have a commanding lead at this point, and it is a regular fire giant, but for what they're doing, it can still do a lot of work.
And I know you, spectator definitely wants us to talk about this. How are we feeling about the blink on Artemis?
You know, if you are that guy, and I've played against that guy in duel, um, it is absolutely insane. It's a weekend special, um, but it can do work. The problem is this Artemis isn't really. It doesn't really seem like she's doing a whole lot. She is top of the player damage, but then again, like you said earlier, they've just been kind of. It's almost been like solo lane over here, where they're just kind of running at each other.
Yeah, they're just kind of W keying the whole time. I wonder if we're gonna have the chance to see that, those- not the beads, the blink get used. As we see Robin coming over, maybe just checking to see if the Artemis stays. Those camps are about to come up. Might see an invade go down over there, but so far, Hachiman looks like getting the better so far of this ADC matchup. Even though Artemis does have is topping his team in that damage chart, but I'll tell you who's not having a good time is this Cerberus over in solo lane. 0-4-1. Looks like he's been catching the brunt of most of the attacks.
Yeah, so Serb's traditionally one of those solo laners where, you want to see a little bit of damage built into his kit, right? He's got the conduit gem, but he's so far behind right now. He really can't spare it. He's not going to be able to go like a Spear of Desolation or a Divine Ruin or something like that you would typically see a Serb building.
And once
So,
again, we see 4 Kappas members over on this right side, and 3 members in response for Bodega Hive looking for something. Sox hits the stun onto the Odin, but not much going to go down. He's just too tanky. As the Cerberus goes into ult trying to pull them back, out comes the cage from Odin. It looks like there's going to be a brawl in the solo lane. The only one missing
oh,
is Shadow Skills, but that doesn't matter because Kappas are just winning this fight. Terra is low. Can she get out? The flop from Bacchus player Hone secures the kill onto Derry. All the while, Shadow's just pushing down the left side, and looks like Sox picks up the kill on the Deacon. Low health bars on Killer Kappas. Can the Scylla clean up? Can Kaiba grab a couple kills? We see the TP come over from Artemis. Tusky used, picks up Perp Kool-Aid, and Artemis comes and changes the fight. Shadow Skills able to turn this fight around for his team as Odin jump back in Freaky G once more, and both teams are going to decide just to retreat. That's a great trade if you're Killer Kappas, and not so good if you're the Bodega Hive.
yeah. You pretty much hit everything on the head there. It was just kind of each other. They were just kind of running at each other, and then Artemis rotates in and changes the state of the fight. Now Killer Cappers are gonna grab themselves a Pyromancer to go in with this. A little interesting. I'm not bashing on Formless's build. He's 4-0. Um, he is going a very kind of tanky Pele build here. And also
I just
Terra
had to make sure.
Terra ulted inside of an Odin cage there. Which is a little awkward. And I actually don't mind the Absolution pickup here. It does cleanse, but I believe it's on the full cast of the ability after the ultimate resolves, and I'm not sure how that interacts with Terra ult, because it does last a while. So if it goes off instantly, it's great. If it gets the full duration of Terra ult, not so great.
Yeah, and this Pele build is something that we've seen out of Formless before. On this Pele, he enjoys a tankier build, more of a facilitative style of build. Personally, not for me, just because if I'm 4-0, I'm going to be building any damage item that I can, try and keep that going. But uh, all the power to him to keep facilitating for his team and try and set up, Player Hone's 3-0. Maybe they're just looking to set up for their Bacchus to confirm kills. I don't know. But lots of damage coming out from their backline as we see both backliners are going to be top damage for Killer Kappas in the whole lobby as they grab this T1 on the right, maybe looking for it or just the Bastions. We did see the first power, the Pyromancer and the Gold Fury both go over the way of Killer Kappas, who now have upward of 6K gold lead, looking pretty good, and 10K in the XP department. The XP will start to level out, but that gold lead is pretty sizable for
Massive.
24 minutes in. Yeah, it's
It's massive.
pretty big, and that's going to come mostly on your jungle. Once again, Formless just so far ahead as we see the mounted archery and the beads used on the Hachi to get out. The Killer Kappas are just deathballing and running around together. Odin Cage comes out, grabs the Terra Agni Bomb, gets her too, and they're not doing damage fast, but they are slowly melting this Terra down as we see Sox pushing that left lane up, gonna back and try and join up with his team. Derry manages to make the great escape away, but Sox gets stopped by minions. Of course he does. That's just awful when that happens. And he's going to be able to take this T2 not before the TP comes in. Still going to be able to grab the T2, but he does have about 4 Kappas on his way to cut him off. And to be
Here
honest with
comes the
you,
Goon Squad.
we're
Here
looking
comes the Goon
we're
Squad.
looking at a dead Ravana here. I'm not gonna lie to you, unless he hits the ultimate gets away from 3, but there comes the Artemis chasing down the 2 out from Ravana, the backflip trying to get away.
Good
Oh
blink.
man, oh man. Oh, the blink comes out and he still gets caught by the Agni Bomb and he's going to fall to Deacon, going to scoop up not Socks, and
But
Bodega's
look at
just
the
on the Fire
Hive.
Giant. Hive is just going to pull Fire Giant, but all 5 members of Killer Kappas, they know they're on the way over, and yeah, Bodega's gonna hightail it out of there as soon as they see them on that. The question is, does Kappas pick this back up?
Absolutely, 100% of the time.
They yes, they do. You are correct, my good sir. Kappas are going to pick this up, and already at 3/4 health, the Fire Giant is getting shredded a little. The Fire Giant is getting shredded pretty quickly as we see Terra hits the double stun and the Odin Cage to zone them out, but Terra and Cerberus are in behind. Fire Giant a little bit below half. They're doing their best to keep this Hachi out. Looks like the Hachi might fall. Terra ult expended. The beads used, not the beads, the Absolution used off the Hachiman, and Kappas are going to manage to take Fire Giant. They grab Perp
Oh
Kool-Aid on the
no.
kill. Freaky G picks up Ogenson by the very last pixel of that stun. Shadow Skills picks up Kaiba Boy, and that's going to be 3 dead for Bodega Hive. And Kappas are just going to push it down mid, surely, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay. They're going for this mid T2 as Sox is grabbing his speed buff.
so you might not see an in call here from them, but it's definitely at least a Phoenix and towers. If it's me, I'm calling for the in call, but hey, I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
that weirdo.
Yeah, as we see, Ravana trying to jump in just gets deleted. Formless now on a rampage, 5-0-7, and sure, Kappas decide to back up.
Yeah,
Yep, hey, Derry's just a menacing figure, I guess, to look at under that Titan.
it's quarterfinals, man. People want to play it safe. You know, they don't want to lose it off of a botched Terra stun and somebody get whacked to death by a Titan. I get it, but when you're this far ahead and you have the Fire Giant sustain, I see no reason they couldn't have ended there. Now they're gonna have to siege, and now they're gonna have to. Yes, the team fights have been going their way, but another 4 or 5 minutes into this game, and even though the Bodega Hive are behind, that could be what gets them right back into the game.
Yeah, we saw them take that mid Phoenix, opt for the T2 and left, and now they're going for this Primal Fury. I would assume Pyromancer is going to be the next on their agenda, but definitely a safe call. They're deciding not to end the game game one, but like you said, safety. Some Kappas are definitely not the favorites to win this set, so want to play it safe. Make sure that they keep that lead, value it. As we see, you think that's a going into a Magi's on that Pele? No, no. I- Oh well,
You're
I'm
probably
just
looking at
dumb,
a
I
spirit
guess.
robe. A spirit robe or a mantle here. A mantle would probably go pretty good in that team comp, you know. Um, and it's a very underrated item in my opinion. But that's a very very tanky Pele build. Um, yeah, he's 5-0. I'm just kind of concerned as to if they didn't have this 12K gold league going on here, what could that Pele do in a situation where they were dead even? But that's neither here nor there. Kappas is definitely ahead. They're definitely winning this game so far. As long as they don't goof up, I think they got it in the bag.
Yeah, looking pretty good for the 8 seed taking on the number 4 seed as this right T2 is going to fall into the onslaught of the Killer Kappas, and Pele is in mid grabbing that beak and also going to get those Titans. The Phoenix is just a little bit lower as we see waves pushing in, and I think if your Kappas here, are you going for a siege or are you going to set up for Fire Giant?
I'm going a little bit of both. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in and probe and see what their defense is like around these phoenixes to see if I can brute force my way in, and then if I can do that, then I'm just gonna take the fight and end the game. And if I can't do that, then I'm gonna fall back, set up for an enhanced fire giant, and go in for the siege afterwards.
Yeah, it's hard not to think that, this comp of Kappas can't just brute force Bodega, especially with all 5 of them being level 20, and we still see 2 people, the Cerberus and the Terra, both level 18 and 17 for Bodega Hive. Perps had a rough go in this game. 0-6, only 1 kill participation. Kind of been rough. We do see that Spirit Robe end up being built and going into Jotun's Cunning for his glyph. And I know you're a jungler, voted and regarded as the best jungler in Walkers. How do you feel kind of about this tanky Pele build over over going something more traditional, kind of like what Not Socks is building on this Ravana.
I think if you're going the tanky build, traditionally the Robin would be the one building the more tanky build, not the Pele. Um, if it works for him, I'm not gonna bash it. Uh, it's just not what I would build personally. If I'm building any tank items, it's just to get a Magi's Cloak to get a second set of CC immunity, you know. Um, but hey, it's working out for him, man. So man's cooking. Not sure if it's flaming yawn yet or not, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, and we do see he's 5-0-7, 80% kill participation. Kind of just going crazy on this Pele. Good KD's looking good for Kappas all around. 3-1 on the Agni, 3-0 on the Bacchus, 5-0 on your jungler, 2-1 on your Odin. As this mid Phoenix looks like it is going to fall. Freaky G just kind of walks in and says, "You know what? I want this Phoenix. I'm gonna have this Phoenix." But he does have a problem. Is he has five members of Bodega Hive on him, drops the cage, able to run away. All the while, Kappas are on this fire giant. They are looking to try and secure it. As we see Hachi chasing, uses the mounted archery, not able to get secure the kill onto the Odin, but Bodega Hive is here and they're looking to get this. Kappas grab the fire giant. That's going to be EFG for the killer Kappas, but Odin is low. Freaky G looking to try and get out with his life. Deacon grabs the kill onto Perp Kool-Aid, and now Terra's on the menu. Derry is next, and they're looking for this. He's got five men strong around him, and Deacon's going to pick up that kill again. 5-1 or Deacon on this Agni, looking great as the blink comes out from Artemis. I think that's the first time we've seen it. Blinks right into a Hachi too, and forced to back away. But Kappas are pushing down mid. Looks like they are looking for an end, but Ravana in the back, Not Socks with the wraparound, looking for the art, manages to pick up shadow skills, and that might be the end of your siege. But Socks is getting low, gonna fall to Formless with his sixth kill of the game, and Kappas are still looking at this Titan. They are still looking at this end, but dissuaded by the full health Scylla walking out. Hyperboy playing a little bit of deterrence from that Titan, but they're gonna take that left Phoenix as consolation for
I
their
want to go ahead
efforts.
and say this. That Odin came up huge there. He bought so much time. He got them to use so many of their resources. You saw you saw the Phantom Shell come out. You saw the mounted archery come out. And they're just trying to chase him down to get the kill, and then they're like, oh shit, they're on Fire Giant. And then they win the team fight off of it.
Yeah, huge plays from Freaky G managing to zone out not one, not two, but five members of Bodega Hive all by himself and still get out with Fire Giant with his life. You take the left Phoenix, you take Oni Fury, you get Fire Giant all for the price of Shadow skills. I think it's worth. Maybe Shadow might not think that it's worth, but I I think that it's pretty worth.
I'd
Anything
take that
as
deal.
we're moving through. Yeah, damn good deal. I'll take that deal. As we look further into these builds, anything that you're seeing, interesting going into these later items, as I think Ruler might want Bodega to go toward Bodega Killer Kappas to go towards that Pyromancer.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this Baba build on the Agni. I understand it. I get it. It's working out for him. Me personally, I don't care about my mage having that extra 10% cooldown reduction. I want them to do the most damage they possibly can.
Yeah, I
um,
mean that's fair.
but other than that, you see this Artemis really built like how you would have, pretty close to how you would see like a Martiger's mid built or an AMC or something like that. Um, and that ultimate is going to be doing a lot of damage, but we've only seen it blink twice in a 34-minute game. So, you know, um, I'm also not a huge fan of, um, you know, of the Titans Bane with the Death's Toll. It's a little weird to me, but I get it. They're tanky. They're super tanky. You just want all the pin.
Yeah, speaking of tanky, the right Phoenix just fell in about 2 seconds to Killer Kappas, who are pushing in. Not too much time left on that fire giant. Should be running out within the next couple seconds, but looks like they're gonna stay. They want this mid bird to fall and have all three birds down for Bodega Hive, pushing them kind of into a corner. And, Phoenix comes up, instantly goes right back down to the onslaught of the Artemis. Hachi takes about half his health to Agni bombs, and yeah, just gonna back up, take those three phoenixes, and this is the hard part. This is whenever you're trying to siege into somebody's Titan room because they're not gonna be stepping out. There's no objectives up to fight over. So if you're Kappas, or I know you said you like to poke out, maybe see if something happens if you step up. Are you kind of just setting up for this fire giant, or are you sticking with that? Stand in that room, wait for waves to push and poke out a little bit.
Um, at this point, I'm waiting for waves to come in, and I'm full sending. They can't. You have an Artemis that's double stacked. You have Agni bombs. You have essentially a triple front line at this point. You can just full commit onto the Titan. Maybe go ahead and kill whichever person's giving you the biggest issue, whether it's the Hachiman or the Scylla. Um, and then just full commit on the Titan because at this point, Bodega Hive has to take a fight outside of the throne room, otherwise they're just gonna lose.
Yeah, they're just gonna let this game keep on running away from them as we see Left Bird is about to come up, but so is EFG, and that looks like that is what the Kappas want. If you're Bodega Hive, I know throwing it right back over to you. Are you gonna contest this fire giant, or are you just gonna kind of wait and try and get your base back and situate it up, get these waves pushed?
Uh, I send my Cerberus to go take a look. Maybe try to get a cheeky steal, but other than that, everyone else just needs to stay, clear up these waves, because you're getting to the point to where the gold lead's almost completely gone. Um, XP, everyone's 20, so that doesn't matter anymore. But you have to do something. You can't just let them do what they're doing to you. Uh, and it's
Yeah.
they're bad touching them. That's
Oh
there's no other way to
man.
say it.
Oh,
They're bad
that's
touching them.
brutal. They forgot about the last fire wave and lost the Phoenix to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Um,
so sad for Bodega, man.
and I hate this Berserker Shield last item on the Robin. Hate it.
All right, all right. Well, well, there you go. Um, the disapproval of the Berserker Shield socks. You heard that from Barry, but we see Kappa's pushing up into this Titan room, looking for an end. Bodega's standing strong in that Titan room, sitting right there. Socks sneaking around the side, maybe looking to do the same thing he did last time, get a pick onto this Artemis, but I'm sure Kappas will be waiting for it and being a lot more careful this time. Now, if you're Kappas here, who are you targeting? You going for this Scylla? Or you going for this Hachiman?
What I do
Or
in this situation is I send a frontline person first, forward a little bit, get a little bit of poke, have them fall back. I've got EFG, right? And then I have them tell me how much damage was done to them. And then from that point, we discuss who is the issue, and then we deal with them. That's exactly what I do.
oh,
If you're looking to get rid of the one-shotter, kill the Scylla.
yeah, that 100% I would agree with you. Is looks like Kappas are just gonna wait for this right Phoenix to come back up, and that's gonna be their prize for now. Probably go over towards that mid bird once again. Firewaves have been pushing for last couple minutes. Hive has kind of just been hanging out in base, defending against those firewaves, and like you said, if you're Kappas, you kind of just got to send it at this point. You've got double, almost triple firewaves pushed into that Titan room. It is about time that we go. You've won every team fight. It's not like Bodega's really put up much of a
Yeah,
fight in any of these team fights, so you kind of just got to send it.
realistically, I get they're wanting to play safe, but realistically, this game could have been over 15 minutes ago. Odin Cage comes out,
Yep.
uh, Stygian Torment comes out,
Cerberus ult
all the
going
ults.
ahead. They're looking to end, and Ogenson picks up the kill on the Deacon. Kappa's looking to end this game, but that Titan's health bar is not going down. Sox picks up Shadows, goes Ogenson picks up Formless. That's going to be 3 down. Freaky grabs the kill back onto Sox, and that is going to be 3 down for Killer Kappas.
Oh
They step in
man,
4 down for Killer Kappas. Ogenson picks up Freaky G, and that's going to be a quick 3 kills over onto your Hachiman, who's now on a killing spree, and Bodega managed to pull the great Titan defense and kind of shut me and Barry up. We were both saying, just go in, just go do it. You haven't lost a fight. Well, now they've lost a fight. Now they've
they
lost a
got
fight to.
you gotta take the fight smart. Like you just don't. all going at one time. This thing might die to fire minions though.
Yeah, we see it in about a quarter, and they only have the Scylla back to defend as the rest of the team went up and it uses
Oh,
the I am a monster to clear the last fire wave. That Titan is on such low health. Honestly, you guys aren't going to stop us. And turns out, Bodega had something to say about that. Left Phoenix did fall one more time. So rough as they go back for that Pyromancer. And man, I'm telling you, I'm just giving it to the Odin. And I'm sending him in and saying, drop the bomb on the Titan. Even if you die, you got it. It'll probably just get autoed and destroyed. But hey, me, and
yeah,
I know
this
you
is
said it too, a little antsy. I'd be antsy at this point if I'm Kappas, man. I like that Titan is host. You kind of just gotta send it.
yeah. Everyone that knows me knows I do not like playing 45 minutes my games. And you've seen it. You've seen it playing against us. Where we hit about, I think it was like that 43-minute mark, and I just kind of ended
Just
it
all
because I was
send it.
done. So, but again, this is quarterfinals. This isn't, a regular season game. Um, and I get what they're trying to do here. I do, but you're gonna have to force something. And these guys are just gonna turtle. They have a Scylla, so at this point, you just gotta kill the Scylla and pop that fight.
Yeah, we see two birds coming back up for Bodega, and Killer Kappas are circling around that EFG, the third EFG of the game, mind you. And Kappas look like they're just going to secure it with no defense coming out of Bodega Hive. Once again, like you said, just going to turtle in base, let bird back up and heal the Titan just a little bit. But they have fire minions on that right bird, and it is going down very fast. And the right bird is on probably 30 health, 40 health. And Bodega
Yeah,
needs to learn to counter fire waves, man, because this is like the third time that this has happened.
the good news is Scylla didn't use I'm a monster to kill fire minions this time, so
Yeah, I guess that's the positive you can take away from it is we see Kappa's looking for this mid bird. They're doing their 4-1 split again, and all the fire from Bodega is focused on this Artemis, trying to keep Shadow Skills away from that Phoenix. But Formless joining back up with the group. I'm a Monster expended does hit the Bacchus, but not doing too much damage to the full tank. Bacchus. If I'm Formless like he was doing, I'm just going back to that right side and just trying to sneak this Phoenix. It's on such low health, you can probably just auto it down. You don't even need to use your bomb. But instead, Bodega jumps in. Killer Kappas jump in. The Odin cage comes out. Shell expended. Shadow picks up one player, picks up Derry, and this Scylla looks like it might be the only bastion of defense left as Sox sneaking around the back for the Artemis. The knockup from the Bacchus, and Sox is trying to get on to grab Shadow Skills. Formless grabs Sox in return, and all the while, Freaky G is just on the Titan, and that's going to be a game one win for the 8 seed. Really, the 11th seed, taking down the number 4. Killer Kappas 1-0.
yep, valiant effort on the Bodega Hive there. Had some really good defenses, just was too little too late, I think.
Yeah, and I know we gave Formless a lot of crap for the build. Lots of talking about the tank build, and he cooked 7-1 and 12, 19 out of 22 kills he was participating in, as well as player hone. 20 of the 22 kills he participated in, and man, Kappa's looked good riding that momentum out of the gauntlet, being able to catch Bodega off guard, come out aggressive early, and honestly, I'm looking to see Perp change it up next game from that Cerberus. Maybe go back to his Achilles, one of his picks that he's more comfortable on. Anything that you saw in this game that they could switch up?
Yeah, Herb play Cucullin. Play Cucullin. I like his Cucullin. As well as, you know, these guys were going for the super aggression early, like the Bodega Hive guys were. You saw not socks going left, right, mid, left, right, mid. If Kappa's just capitalizes on that more, I think that game is goes even faster than what it did.
Yeah, and that's going to be all for this game one. We're going to take a small break and we'll be right back with you for game two. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here for game two of the quarterfinals. We have the number four seed, Bodega Hive, and the number eight, really, the number 11 seed, Killer Kappas. I'm TPD1 on your chair one. We have Barry Toppings here, chair twoing, and ruler of men on the spectate. And we're getting right these bands. We see the Agni taken right away from Deacon. They don't want to see that again. And then Charon, the response with a Thanatos Going into this game too, anything else you'd want to see change up in the bans and picks?
Yeah, I like that they made the adjustment for the Agni. It was a massive issue. Odin's gonna come through again here. I'm yeah, uh,
Well, there you
kind
go.
of no-brainer pick there. But Player Helm's gonna get the Ganesha. I I don't know how I feel about the Yanis Naja bans, but hey, they know something that I don't.
Yeah,
What is
I will
this? What am
say,
I seeing?
the Cthulhu and the Odin looks like we're either going to see a Cthulhu support or an Odin support. Much more likely leaning towards that Odin support. Been something I've seen Derry try out a little bit, but as for the Najah ban, that's one of probably Sox's best jungle god. So just taking that away from him, not awful. The Giannis, your guess is as good as mine. I know Kaiba can play it, but I don't think that's like his main or anything. Now, Discordia and Ganesha, Deacon and Player both played. I know Player played Ganesh in all. What did he play? Three, four Gauntlet games. Four Gauntlet games. He played Ganesh in all four. Discordia was played in, I believe, three of the four Gauntlet games by Deacon. A pick he's very comfortable with. A pick that he has gone to before and is good on. And we do see this Achilles come out into the Cthulhu. How are you feeling about the Achilles Cthulhu matchup?
I actually really like that matchup for the Achilles. So you got to be aware Cthulhu's going to clear the wave a lot better than you are, obviously. But there's one thing that Achilles has that Cthulhu doesn't have anything to counteract, and that is a 40% execute at all ranks. Descent into Madness is not going to help you if you're 40% health or under. You're going to get big and you're still going to get executed, and you just made yourself an easier target.
Yeah, and in that third spot for Bodega Hive, they did lock the new god, the last god that was added in, who is just recently able to be played. Not something that we've seen, come out in any of the other sets so far in playoffs that we've seen. I'm gonna be honest with you, I hate it. I'm not a I don't like Nut in the ADC lane. I barely like her in mid. She's good in the 1v1, not great in team fights, just not really something that I personally would advise for, but if Oginson's comfortable on her, then go for it. We see two bans in the second phase are going to be the Hachiman. I can't see what that last one is. Can you see
That's a
that?
Humbats. That is a
A
Humbats.
Hunbats. A Hunbats. Oh yeah, it is. There you go. I just had to enlarge. And then on the other side, we see the Gilgamesh and taking away the Pele from Formless. Those are two more of his jungle picks. We see the On Her locked in for shadow skills. Not something that we've seen him on before, but I don't hate the On Her into the nut. I like that matchup personally. How do you feel about these picks so far? As we see
Um,
Asuka get blocked.
I am also not a nut believer, so I'm also not a Tsukiyomi believer. I don't think banning the Pele was worth it. It wasn't like a hyper carry. It wasn't popping off, doing 40, 50,000 damage. Finally, we see the Kukulkan. I like that.
Yeah,
Kukulkan inside of an Odin cage goes crazy.
took us until phase two of the second game to see a Cuckoo ban or pick, which is, you know, very surprising as Cuckoo is one of the top mages in Walker, one of the most played and or banned mages in Walker. So you don't like the Tsukiyomi, you don't like the nut. Sounds like, and I don't, hate to be a guy who infers things, but I really don't. Sounds like you're leaning towards a Kappas 2-0 here.
Um, I need to see what this last pick is. Uh, because I like the Cuckoo. I love the Cthulhu. I like the Odin support. I really do. I think it's a very underrated pick for support because everyone always wants to slam him in solo lane, but they forget how much pressure that god can bring you in the duo lane. Um,
Yeah.
I don't really know the on her nut matchup very well. I do know that on her is typically, your early game kind of lame bully character that falls off late, but he's still a hunter. He can still do hunter things. A set. Okay.
That didn't sound happy. That did not sound like a happy set.
No, I love Set. Set is one of my favorite gods in the game, but the character is just ass. There's like Set used to be like once you hit 5, you can dominate, but now he's kind of in that spot after he's been nerfed a bajillion times that he needs to get the late game. He needs to get that team fight so he can go crazy. And Bodega Hive has a team comp that just tells you no.
Yeah, I think that this set definitely needs to play towards that dual lane. Honestly, on her into nut isn't a bad matchup as long as you can hit your on her combo. And the chase ability, the chase down on nut isn't hard. She has one dash that goes about, 2.5 inches. So not really going to have much trouble chasing her down if you're putting pressure. If I'm set, if I'm formless, I'm going to be heavily leaning towards this duo side. You know, Ricky G had a good time against Perp in lane last game, so you just kind of got to trust him. And while the will bring pressure, I think that the nut is such an easy gank that if Odin is over there, you can definitely force an ult out of him to try and keep his nut alive because just no escapability on that god, especially in the duo lane where it's a little bit of a longer lane. I really like this Kappas team and the way that they've put it together. Lots of comfort coming out. Achilles being a freaky G special, Ganesha being a player hone one trick, and Deacon obviously comfortable on this Discordia. But like you said, Set is eh, on her is a good god, but never seen Shadow on it, so I'm a reserve judgment on that.
Yeah, I gotta see how the duo lane plays out here to really go in. If I'm going off of team comps here, I like the Odin, I like the Cthulhu, I like the Kukulkan. On the opposite side, I'm not a massive Discordia fan in general. I'm a very big fan of the buff that I get because it's either me or Smallface is gonna have the disco buff all game essentially until Jacob gets online. Uh, but other than that, I think overall I like what Hive's team does better because they have a very single kind of target pick based comp on the killer kappas, and that's not how they were playing last game. They were playing for the team fights.
Yeah, so looking at these two team comps, you mm, I don't know, man. I'm honestly leaning towards Kappas. I kind of like their comp better. Just the set is such an unknown thing to me because one, I don't play the god. I think I played him in an in-house one time and went 0-9, and that's about it. But but I don't play the god. Don't know the matchup into Tsukiyomi. Can't play either god. So I'm also intrigued to see how this dual lane matchup goes out because, like you said, that Odin pressure can kind of be counteracted by the on her pressure, but it's gonna depend. Is this nut going to be able to cut out her damage and stay safe? I guess it just all depends on how Ogunson pilots. But everywhere else, the Cthulhu Achilles matchup certainly something that a lot of people go towards. Oh, they picked the Cthulhu, I'll just pick an Achilles. Not a direct counter, but like you said, the execute is good. The execute, can't stop it. But if you're on which side are you kind of leaning towards that solo lane to? Are you kind of leaning towards the Cthulhu or the Achilles?
I think the Cthulhu wins lane against the Achilles. Like overall, pre 5, Cthulhu definitely wins that. Um, so you see the set W key here a little bit. Uh, if Cthulhu gets rotated on and Freaky has his ult up, it's just a free kill.
Yeah, and
And
speaking of free kill, we see Cthulhu doing a lot of damage to the Achilles as well. On the other side, the on her getting pretty low. We saw a lot of aggression early from these teams. Not really many low health bars, just a lot of aggression. But this game looks like Perp Kool-Aid's deciding that he does not want to lose lane again as we see the gank coming out from the Tsukiyomi socks, looking for something. The immediate knockup from Ganesha, not even going to allow him to get his stun off, but solid solid plays, solid aggression from the solo lane. I like what I'm seeing from Perp already, getting that low health bar as we see the set lurking, maybe looking for the kill. Odin jumps in, the silence from Ganesh, and both sides are going to be able to make it out on opposite teams.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see this matchup in the duo lane because overall I think it's very 50-50 on what comp I like better. Um, it's more gonna boil down to how well they can pilot characters themselves. And Cuckoo's a very simple character, but also so is Discordia. Discordia also has a ton of poke in her kit.
Yeah,
I
and I,
think.
I was gonna say for ease of use, I think that Bodega's got it. Just nuts easy to play. Odin's easy to play. Now, being a good Odin versus playing Odin is different, but easy to play. Cthulhu's fairly simple. Cuckoo's
Oh
simple
no.
as oh man. And there we go. We were expecting to see one from Ogunson in game one. We do see one from Formless in game two. Set falls. First blood goes to the Chief Centaur.
Man, I think I might just be cursed because uh the set I casted earlier in the week there was a PvE death to the red centaur as well. And it was also the jungler.
So sounds like they just need to. If the junglers are gonna want Barry to quit casting their dang sets, or else they're just gonna keep dying to the red buff. Sounds like that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, you know, red
A
buff
little bit of
OP,
bad
dude.
luck. Yeah, a little bit of bad luck. That red buff damage. It is the damage buff for a reason. But we saw Perp Kool Aid getting a little bit poked out, forced to back and use that TP back into lane. Gonna lose that TP advantage on the Achilles, but in this duo lane, we see the Ganesh getting a little bit poked out. Lots of pressure being applied. Like you said, the Odin bringing a big load of pressure into that duo lane, not really allowing Anher to do what Anher does best and just kind of W key at you. We see the death toll once again. I know it was on the other side last time, coming from the Hachi. Death toll on the Anher. How are we feeling?
I don't hate it. Um, I think I would still just for me my go-to is arrow. It just gives you so much pressure in lane. Um, you know, you get some, you clear the minions, you get extra gold, you get your items faster, and then late game you can go into Silver Branch and just maximize all of your attack speed and power. But um, on the opposite side, we have the leather cowl on the nut. I'm not super familiar with the god. Tell me a little bit about how what this character wants to do.
Oh, that's more of a 1v1. God, yeah, she's got a lot of damage that comes out in bursts. Her ultimate's very good for team fights, but she's primarily a mid game. I'm going to take you 1v1. She's got a slow on her dash if it hits you. Um, she's got her 2, which is a root, and her 1 just puts out a ton of damage. I've seen a bunch of different builds. Crit Nut really hurts. As we see the ultimate expended from Tsukiyomi looking for the kill onto the Achilles, but brother, you are 2 levels down. You're not really gonna do too
Oh,
much. The execute does come out, but not gonna be able to do anything to the Tsukiyomi. Not in range, but looks like First Blood might be Freaky G as Perp Kool Aid picks up First Blood, and man, as a Perp Kool-Aid fan, that's got to be good to see. My man had a struggle bus of game one and goes up into that old planet god he's more comfortable with in Cthulhu, but there might be a Discordia on the menu. Cthulhu on the chase, so
oh
is Kukulkan.
man.
Perp Kool-Aid grabs the second, Deacon falls, and Formless on the back to be able to pick up Not Socks on the Tsukuyomi set ultimate used in that fight. And kind of a questionable ult coming out of Freaky G, trying to get onto his Not Socks in order to let Deacon clean up a little bit. But solid stuff coming out from Bodega Hive. Looking good, not shaken up after that game one loss that they suffered.
Yeah, you see. 7 minutes in, the Cthulhu's 2-0, and I think at this point the Sir was 0-2. So definitely a good change up for the Hive. Um, Spirit of the Nine Winds was also used trying to pick that set off when he was trying to retreat back to tower there. So maybe the Kappas can do a little something with that. But from what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing a completely different team as far as Bodega Hive went from game one to game two.
Yeah, we do see a two-level lead already building up in that duo lane for both members. You know, I guess okay, of course. As soon as I say that, Shadow hits level 8. So about a level lead coming out of the ADCs, 2 levels in support as players just not getting farm. I guess you go as a support, you go with your lane, you take what farm you can get, and I'm honestly, like you said, interested to see how this matchup goes down with the on her and the nut. As we see the Cuckoo Tornado doing a little bit of damage, not got very many items, so he's not really going to be able to hurt too bad yet. As we see Sox eyeing this duo lane, looking for this on her. Tornado dropped again from Cuckoo, looking to just punish Deacon for stepping up out of his tower. But once again, we see level leads starting to build for Kappas. We see a level lead in the jungle, a level lead in mid. Duo and solo, they are down. The 2 kills onto the Cthulhu kind of hurt. The ultimate expended from Achilles to get away from the Not Sox gank. But like we said in game one, Sox is just being super active. Beads used off the nut on her ultimate expended, hits about 3 of those 20 spears, and yeah, lots of things. Is this what it looks like when I play ADC? Just missing autos constantly. It's just rough,
um,
man.
yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
happy with that trade overall. If you're the nut though, right? You use your beads, but you get the on her's Desert Fury, so you don't have to worry about a bajillion damage coming out when he, smacks you up against a wall.
Yeah, Nut did use the ult earlier in that fight, which I'm guessing is what started the whole engagement. But not too much going down in that duo lane. Just kind of both ADCs feeling each other out once again. Different picks, different abilities, different ways to fight. So I'm just interested of how Deacon has died once. I guess Cuckoo did get the assist, but how Deacon's died once and he's still up a level on Kaiba Boy.
It's
It's
farming
just
better,
been,
man.
yeah, dominating over the neutral farm. Speaking of dominating the farm, we see the Ganesh player with the huge rotation to triple split that red buff. He really needed that XP right
Mm.
there.
Hey,
Absolutely
look,
massive. Speaking of massive, Deacon grabs the 2-1 combo, and Kaiba forced back under his tower. Ganesh is here, but once again, your Ganesh is still level 7, and Sox is looking for something in a 3v1 as Aries not dairy. That's formless. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess the tiredness is just getting to me or something. I'm mixing up the teams. I'm mixing up the names, mixing up the colors, man.
Descent into Madness comes out, not quite able to secure the kill on the Achilles. Um, Achilles gonna ult out there, so both ults expended. You're gonna. That was alrighty.
Seeing the Tsukiyomi come out on her ult expended, out comes Skyfall from the nut, and looks like they might be able to grab the kill. The honor misses the stun, and Shadow Skills is going to get out within 1 inch of his life. The beads come out from the set, trying to pick up the kill onto Socks, and goes the other way. Formless falls.
15
Socks
HP.
out on 15 on 5 HP. Blinks out, and that is a huge save from Oakenson, managing to get his jungler out. And honestly, I'm just more mad that Socks was the last hit merchant on that. Stole that one away from Oakenson, but manages to peel out his jungler and grab an assist is the nut. And we hated on it a lot, but top player damage, just made a great play to get his jungler out. Oakenson's looked pretty good so far on this newt, or nut, or whatever you call him. As the
Yeah, you're gonna see
Discordia
the
apple
apple come
does
out.
come out. Yeah, grabs it onto the Cuckoo. Doesn't really do any damage, but both teams looking like they want to dance around this Gold Fury. And then as soon as I say that, they both back off.
Hey man, it's Walkers. We do what we want, all right. Looks like we're gonna be having a bobble come out here on this Odin support as well. Not sure how I feel about bobble coming out second item on Odin support. Doesn't really give you a whole lot of stats. They're just gonna run at him. Um,
Yep, Formless grabs Derry. That's going to be his second of the game. 2-2 now. Derry falls for the first time, and looks like Killer Kappas are kind of circling around this beacon. Not sure if they want to fight for it. The tornado does come out from Cuckoo as the blink comes in from the set. That's not a blink. That's just a set. Man, I
it's
told
just
you I don't know
teleport.
this god.
It's teleport.
Spirit of the Nine Winds comes out to try and peel the Cuckoo out. But that's a lot of damage that Formless just did to Kaiba, and that's going to secure Kappas to get this first beacon. As Ogenson was looking to make the rotation, but that's a low health bar, and Sox is just dead to Freaky G. Grabs his first kill of this game as Perp Kool-Aid didn't make the rotation. He's over there looking for this T1 tower. Looks like had his first good laning experience of the set and wants to just stay over there for the rest of the game, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily hate the rotation here. Um, you know, him just staying there, getting the tower, getting farm, trying to get a little bit bigger before he starts coming to these fights. They're gonna lose the tower in mid, but they on the other side you lost the tower in solo lane, so it's fine. Um, Cthulhu is opting for the Thorns teleport here rather than a blink to engage with, so that's a little interesting to me.
Yeah, and it's something you see Purple to quite often that he does prefer the thorns over that as beads used on the nut for insurance purposes, we'll say. I guess thought that he was going to get hit by that stun from the push of on her, but haven't seen Shadow hit a single one of those yet, so I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. I have to poke fun at the ADCs. I'm not trying to be that guy, but gotta poke fun at the ADCs. On her versus Nut though, it's been looking pretty good from both sides. Like I said, at the beginning of the first set, Ogenson, he feels like he's a newer ADC, not really much of a dueler yet. As we see him go into Oboe for the third item, Spirit of the Nine Winds used to try and peel the set off of him. Kaiba looking to try and get out as
oh no.
Sox is looking to try and get in. He gets hit by the apple, loses Kaiba Boy, and Sox picks up Formless on the other side. And now it's Sox and Deacon in a 1v1. But Ogenson makes the rotation in from the duo lane. Great rotation. Deacon is getting low. The dash in from the Newt goes up into the Skyfall and picks up Deacon. And that's a great rotation from the ADC. Has a small lead, capitalizes off of it. Good stuff out of Ogenson, and it looks like they're going straight over to that Gold Fury, looking to try and secure it. You do still have on her. We saw Shadow pull off a Miracle Steal in game one, but doesn't even look like he's aware that they're on Gold Fury. Now
If he
making
goes
his
over
way
here, he
over, still has the
dies.
ultimate, and looks like it's just going to be done before they even get there. Ganesh ult expended, Dharmic Pillars not able to confirm Gold Fury. The first one goes over to Bodega Hive.
I do want to touch on something here. Socks, if you're listening, brother, stop building Aegis over beads. Um, More times than not, you're still gonna die when you're a jungler with blink Aegis rather than blink beads. You have an ultimate that gets you in there. You need something to be able to get out with. um, Sock's probably gonna go into a Runeforge hammer here. More than likely, either Runeforge or Blackthorns. Most likely Runeforge, but um,
I know our spectators wishing that it was Blackthorn. It's like favorite item in the game, certified by Ruler of Men Special, the Blackthorn Hammer. But we do see, we do see like Nuts going into that Silver Branch. Once again, new god. I'm also not super familiar with the kit. Just like played her a couple times. Not sure if Silver Branch is the build you kind of lean towards go for, but so far he's cooking. And like you said in game one with Formless's build, I'm gonna let him cook, and we'll see what the result is. But so far, Bodega's looked pretty good. They've got about a 1,500 gold lead after 16 minutes. It's 5-4. Grabbed an extra tower, so loo- looking a lot better in game two than they did in game one for sure.
yeah, it definitely looks like they came out to saying that they didn't want to get 2-0'd by the 11th seed, essentially, right? which you gotta love. You know, gotta respect it a little bit, trying to step their game up. As
Oh
that dude
man,
just got
oh
deleted.
man. Yeah, Ogenson drops the Skyfall and just gonna kill Shadow, but he doesn't have a tower to run back to. If I was Kappas, I'm chasing him down, but you know, his team is there to help him. We see Derry drop the cage on the Ganesh, and Ganesh is just circled out. The Spirit of the Nine Winds comes over the top, and Sox manages to grab the kill onto the Ganesh. Dharmic pillars were used, and player Hone just caught out of position there, falls to the jungler for Bodega Hive. And like we said before this game started, if you're playing into a nut, you kind of just got a W key. She doesn't have very much mobility, and she does do burst damage. She does a lot of burst damage, and that's kind of what we just saw there with the on her. She just kind of bursted him from 3/4 down to a quarter, ulted, and he was just dead. But yeah, we see the fight continuing on after getting that pick onto the Ganesh, who's just now coming out of Fountain. T1 tower does fall for the Killer Kappas. That gold lead starting to grow. Went from 1,500 about a minute and a half ago. Now we're up to a 3K gold lead in the favor of Bodega Hive. We're looking for this first Pyromancer of the game, and Spirit of the Nine Winds a little late, but still managed to confirm.
Yeah,
Getting the
and
stare down.
if you're the Bodega Hive, you gotta be feeling good. This is the first time all set so far that they actually have a lead, and you are. I don't think I'm far-fetched in saying this. Most people would expect you to win this set, right? Um,
Yeah, definitely not.
but
as
the
as
Kappas
the
won game one in a fairly convincing manner. I just, I think for the Kappas, I just want to see them go back to that team fight style of comp they were playing in game one. They just look so much better on it.
yeah, the W key comp that the Kappas kind of went for, and the good team fight where they focus on team fight. Not really as much the case here, like we pointed out. You know, set with versus Pele and the team fights are very different gods, and even the on her versus the Artemis super different. As we see a TP going right, Shadow Skills going over into this right lane. It looks like they might be looking to take this T1 tower per prelate. Well, Bodega says if y'all go over there, we're just going to take this Primal Fury, and looks
They
like
backed
Kappa's
up.
decided to just back. Yeah, they just all TP'd over there and then decided to back. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Rulers pretty much said it all. They had a T1 tower, they had a Fire Giant, and decided to just back off instead.
yeah. I'm not really sure what happened there. um, and we are gonna see the Runeforge upgrade to Flameforge Hammer here. Just gives them a little bit extra damage when they're CC'd. Uh, Pretty much a standard item you see come out of Tsukiyomis in general. Usually you see your Sukis go a little bit more on that hybrid build with like a Void Shield and a Runeforge Hammer. Or they'll opt for something like a Soul Eater. I I gotta say, man, I'm not a huge fan of people building Pribone on Ganesha. I'm just gonna say it because
Okay.
you're usually engaging a fight with your ultimate, and you're not getting the massive value off of the Pribone shield that you want. I just feel like there's other items that you could be going in, specifically in a comp like what you have here, that would give your team more value.
Yeah, we do see the beads and Aegis expended off of Shadow Skills as well as the ultimate trying to get away from Sox on the Tsukiyomi. Jumps over the wall, able to get away. And Sox doesn't know. Set is just waiting there for him. The pin from the on her is perfect. Formless takes down Not Sox after just a perfect bait from Shadow Skills. Just a great job by the on her, able to turn that around. Looked like he was going to be going down for sure. And some escapability that on her offers. Once again, I'm going back to it that Nut does not offer. I'm just gonna keep on, just gonna keep on slandering this Nut pick, even though he is 2-0-2. So
We
not
haven't really seen a whole lot of rotations come to that duo side lane outside of a couple fights here and there. Um, and I I think I need to see more out of Kappas here. Yes, you're a little bit down, but there's still things you could be doing. Honor just ate a tower shot.
And Skyfall coming out from the nut, going for the chase, hits him with the ultimate, but just going to be a little bit too far away. Not going to really get any value out of that other than padding your damage numbers. I see you, Ogenson, trying to pad the damage numbers a little bit, put yourself at the top of the chart, but looking like they're going to start grouping over towards this Fire Giant, this Pyromancer. Not really going to be a possibility for FG without the ADCs there, but Pyromancer is definitely something you can look at as Derry might have gotten caught now, just going to leap and be perfectly fine Odin things. And we see a lot of burst damage coming out of this nut, looking for shadow skills on the Anhur, not able to get over there. Now I bet he wishes he had his ultimate, because that would have been a perfect ult opportunity. But we see the burst damage that can just come out of this nut in the 1v1. And once again, Derry taking a lot of, seems like unnecessary poke. Just stepping up a little bit, not really too much reason. And Ogenson over here bullying Shadow under tower. No help coming from the Killer Kappa squad.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Darius playing this Odin more like a solo laner than a support. Little unfortunate because I'm actually a fan of the Odin support, as I said before, but he's taking a lot of poke here. Spirit of the Nine Winds going to come out. Kappas do get the pyro this time.
Yeah, they do manage to secure it through the Odin cage and the Spirit of the Nine Winds. And somebody please gank this nut, please. Doesn't even look like they're gonna need a gank as Shadow Skills is in there. Gonna grab the solo kill onto Ogenson. Never mind, Shadow. I wasn't familiar with your game. Nobody needs to gank the nut. It's out, not even close. Not even close. And manages to pick up the solo kill onto the nut. I apologize, Shadow, once again, was not familiar with your game.
Kappas grouping for this Gold Fury, and
Yeah,
it doesn't
after
even
grabbing
look
that
like.
pick, I even know. We see Socks in the area. Is he gonna look for a steal? He
Oh
is gonna
my
look for it,
god.
and he manages to steal it away. Bodega Hive grab the Gold Fury as Not Socks just, I guess, just casually walked up and just took it. I don't know exactly what was going on, but yeah, I, I'm not even gonna try and explain that. He just kind of walked up and said, "This is mine, not yours," and just took it from them.
Yeah, it comes down to simply is there was no one there to like th- there was no one there to just body block the Suki one. I can't
Uh,
believe he just got that and walked out. That's insane to me.
yeah, we still see the gold lead for Bodega about 4,300. You know, still skyrocketing, still going up. Kind of stagnated a little bit. Earlier it was around, I believe, 45, something like that. But we see the blink come out from Tsukiyomi trying to get away, but Kaiba is low. The On her tried to gank around the back. Shadow trying to find Cuckoo. Gets out. Not even close once again on 80 health. The Tsukiyomi in the backline on the Discordia. Deacon trying to fight off too, but in backside, Ogenson getting the same treatment. Cthulhu turns around. Perp Kool-Aid trying to get Formless off. Formless grabs the nut, but manages to TP out, man. I can't with this set teleport. I keep thinking he's dead and he's just gone. I'm like, what? But Socks low in the back. Achilles looking for something. Freaky G does not have that execute up, so not really able to do too much, especially with three other members of Bodega Hive there. But it might not be Freaky doing something to them. It might be them doing something to him. As there are four members of Bodega coming, the tornadoes are starting to hurt. Hyba Boy putting out a lot of damage onto that Achilles. Forced to back off, and honestly, I think that is a I think that's a win for Kappas. You are a little bit behind. Gold lead does dip down below the 4K mark, down to about 3,500. If you're Kappas, what are you kind of doing to try and even this gold lead out, get yourself a little more of a stronghold in this game?
I mean, I see a one-shot tower over there. That's some gold in your pocket there. Uh, I think that you can just try to go for a fire giant here, have them come in, do exactly what you just did that last fight. Make them utilize all of their tools. The relic, it's a relic graveyard now. The only thing up is the thorns and the teleport on the Cthulhu. And your support still has the shell for the Odin cage, and he's got a horrific. So you're not so far behind that you can't take any fights. You know, just like just shy of 4K. I'd still be willing to take some fights here. But you got to do it smart.
Yeah,
You
and
gotta.
as our lovely spectator ruler is pointing out, level 18 Odin support still has an upgraded war flag. And I just want and we were talking about, the viability of Silver Branch on this nut. Only 6 stacks of it right now. He still hasn't upgraded that cow. I pray that he goes into a hunter's cow over a leader's cow. But you never know. Still not really going to be stacking it too much, even with that. Yeah, he's up to 10 now. He got something, some kind of. Oh, is the Odin stem? Yeah, the Odin stem gave him up to 10. So maybe that's what they're banking on, the Odin stem.
Yeah,
I see a
I,
fight.
I
Yeah, go
haven't
ahead.
used it. Oh, team fight
Oh, we
coming
see a
out here.
fight starting to break out. Odin Cage comes down. Dharmic Pillars drop. Socks is low. The on her
Oh
ultimate
no.
exchange expended as well. The beads ages at a perfect time out of Ogenson to stop the damage from Discordia. Skyfall does come down, pulls the on her back in, a little bit below half health for Shadow skills, but back it up, and Derry just jumps right in. Looks like the support for Bodega wants this fight. Spirit of the Nine Winds comes out, hits with a massive 0 people. Perp Kool-Aid picks up one. Freaky G responds, and Kaiba grabs Shadow. Derry grabs Freaky, and there are a ton of low health bars on both sides. Ogenson grabs Formless. That's 4 dead for Killer Kappa's only player, Hone alive. And they're going to
Just
push down this T2, and that's a low health bar on Ganesha. Also a low health bar on Odin. Derry going to pick up the double kill, and surely they just go push down. Surely they push down mid, right? I mean, they've got low health bars, but
yeah, I think what you do is you take this Phoenix, you have Cthulhu recall, you have the Odin recall, and you have the Cthulhu teleport over to the fire pit, and you start a fire giant.
yes, I agree. They grab this middle bird, and it looks like they're going to take you up on your advice, looking for the pyromancer, not the fire giant, but the pyromancer. Cthulhu does have the persistent teleport up, so I'm not sure why he's not taking it, but they're
They
going
just
to
wasted too
pick up
much
the
time.
pyromancer back, and all the members of Killer Kappas are going to be up and alive as Bodega Hive grabs a middle bird and grabs a pyromancer.
Yeah, I don't understand the thinking behind it. You know, you just reset there, you go directly over to fire giant. It's a free fire giant. You even have a bomb for
Yeah,
secure if you really want to. Um,
yeah, I would tend to agree with you, but Bodega played it safe, went ahead, and
there's your leader's cow.
Ruler is not very happy with the silver branch. I was wanting a hunters because it gives you the attack speed, but whatever floats your boat. You got a whole 8 stacks on the silver branch bow now, not really getting too much value out of it, but if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel good.
When I'm saying that I go towards these Silver Branch builds and ADCs, I'm always going arrow when I do those builds, and I'm always playing a stim god when I do it. I don't know if Nut has an attack speed stim built into her kit.
No, no, she does not. As we see the fire giant started for Bodega Hive, and it is getting kind of shredded, already down at about half health, but they're going to drop off and look for the Achilles instead. Look for the pick on the Freaky G, uses the ultimate to get out, so you do not have that execute up, but all ultimates up except for the Odin Cage for Bodega Hive, and even if they wanted to 50-50, I think it's still a good shot. You've got the Kukul Khan, Spirit of the Nine Winds does a lot of damage to this fire giant, and it is EFG now, so
Yeah, I think
eventually,
uh,
go
I
ahead.
think you just pull it. You just pull it. You had the best secure of the game. Um, there's no issue with when you have a Kukulkan Spirit of the Nine wins, as long as someone's zoning properly, it's never really a 50-50. And Not Sock's gonna go in here. Apple comes out, Aegis comes out. Oh, brother.
Iva with the snipe picks up one. Freaky responds on Not Sox. Ogenson grabs Formless, and that's 2 for 1 so far. Ogenson grabs a double kill onto Deacon. Ogenson looking for a third, and they're chasing them down. Only the two tanks alive for Killer Kappas as Bodega Hive smell blood. Bodega Hive are looking for more. Ganesha is low. Ogenson grabs another, and
Here's
you
the
have a
call.
highway to the Titan at 32 minutes. Who needs EFG when you can just have the Titan? That is what Bodega Hive are thinking, and it's up to Freaky G to try and defend against four. As there are four members of Bodega Hive looking to tie the series up 1-1. Freaky in the back trying to get the Kukulkan. Spirit of the Nine Winds comes out and ends the game. Bodega Hive tie the set up 1-1 and show honestly, exactly what we were expecting to see, and just dominant once again from Bodega Hive, looking good.
Yeah, they looked pretty good, but they didn't look. To me, they didn't look like the what you would imagine a fourth seed over an 11th seed looking like. Um, Not to take it away from them, I do think a lot of it came down to this Tsukiyomi pick. Um, Not a big fan of it, but the Cthulhu was doing work. And your backliners were doing what backliners are supposed to do. So overall, good set for them, or good match rather.
Yes, solid match coming out of Bodega, tying the series up 1-1, and we will be back for Game 3 to see if Bodega can go on to face the Cyberpunk Otters in round 2, or will it be the upstarts, the 11th seed turned 8th seed Killer Kappas? We'll see. We'll find out at Game 3. All right, everybody, welcome back for game three of this quarterfinals matchup. We have the 4 seed Bodega Hive facing off against the 11 turned 8 seed Killer Kappas coming fresh off winning the gauntlet. They looked dominant in game one, and then fell down in game two. Bodega caught game two. I'm your chair one, T Pity one, and we have Barry Toppings on chair two and Ruler of Men chair three. Barry, anything you saw in that game too that you would want to see changed in the picks bans phase? Any gods you don't want to see other than clearly the Odin that just got banned?
Yeah, Ogenson was dominant on the nut. Uh, the set was not it, brother. Um, I think I think Kappas needs to go back to just big circle team comp fights, man. That's what they looked good on. They did not look good on this single someone out, blow them up kind of team comp. And I'll leave it at that. Same bands, with the exception of the Odin and the Agni. Probably looking at going 4 bands towards Formless again.
Yeah, we do see the Cthulhu locked in top for Bodega Hive. Perp Kool-Aid looked great on this pick in the second game. You go from a 0-8 game one with one assist to 3-0-7 game two. That's got to be something to do with God comfort, if anything. But I would agree with you. I think the nut is something that you definitely look at if you are Bodega Hive for Ogenson. Maybe look at it in this first phase because could get banned in the second phase. As for Kappas, yeah, Formless definitely get away from that set. Maybe try and go back towards the Pele. Maybe try and go back towards one of those warrior jungles you love so much. But set wasn't really it. Like you said, it's just kind of hard at this point to get into the game with a set. He's been nerfed into the ground, just not that great anymore. We see the Jing Tian locked up top for Killer Kappas. If this is going solo lane, which I would presume that it does, how do you like that matchup into Cthulhu? Better than the Achilles?
No, I don't. I don't like it better than for landing phase. I don't like it better than the Achilles. For team fight, yeah, I love it. I love this Apollo pickup too. Um, eh, Apollo's kind of a controversial subject because they're like, why would you play Apollo when Chernobog's up? But Apollo does things in his kit that Chernobog cannot do, like giving himself protections and
Yeah.
having a global ult that he can use as an escape or a split push tool, and then come in and either secure an objective or get a last hit on a god or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we see we still don't have it, but the second lock-in is going to be the nut for Bodega Hive. Ogenson getting right back onto that nut, and we saw it in game two. He has a really nice nut. Able to play play able to play with it very well. And one thing that I don't like, and I'm just gonna say the name, and I will let you go off. You see the Tsukuyomi once again for the jungle.
I'm just gonna say it, man. And it's I love Tsukiyomi. He's fun guy to play. He's not good. He's fun. He's not good. Play it in the scrim. Have fun with it. Do what you do. But it was straight up just carried last game. The damage was there, but it's not hard to get damage on someone that can hit 5 people in a team fight with an ult. I
Yeah,
don't like it.
and we see the Gilgamesh on the other side, and if this is where I think it's going to be going towards the jungle. Formless Gilgamesh. I think he might have been the first person to pull out the Gilgamesh in jungle in Walkers this season. It's got to be either him or Len from Ice Age. They both are big Gilgamesh jungle players. So I'm excited because we saw Formless on game one when he pulled out that Pele, went, a tankier build, looking more to facilitate. Gilgamesh is something that's definitely more like, I guess, more. I'm trying to think
It's
of the
more
word.
common.
More,
It's more
yeah,
common.
more common. Yeah, more, and it works better with him. He's tankier because he's a warrior. and certainly something that we've seen out of him before, something I think that he can facilitate well on. And getting through the second phase of bans, we see Kappa's choosing to ban the Ganesh, which is interesting. That's certainly player hones one trick. So giving that a ban, I guess, even though Derry is on the other side, Derry, a known Ganesh player, and the Kukul Khan taking that away from Kaiba Boy certainly looked good on it. Did the damage that we were looking for, that you look for out of that mid mage, and in response, Bodega bans the Bacchus, getting rid of that out of Player Hone's hands. Went 4-0 and 16 on that in game one, so certainly not something you want to see. And the Geb, also one of Player Hone's main picks. Bodega clearly did their homework, and so did Killer Kappas.
Yeah, I just I understand it's a target ban. I wouldn't have wasted a ban on a Geb though. Um, there's plenty of good mid laners that are open. You know, you've got the Morgan Le Fay, you've got the Morgan Le Fay, you've got the Thoth. I would much rather seen that slot go towards that. Um, that and you got a Tsukiyomi for ganks, and here comes a Kepri. You were talking about this in picks and bans in the first game. I've never actually seen player hones Kepri before.
Yeah, one of the pick that I've seen him play, he prefers these backliners. He prefers these safer, less lane pressure, not as aggressive supports. Kind of his play style kind of fits to that. And insta lock from the other side, we see Terra Discordia locked in. Kaiba, a menace on Discordia. And in that game one, I'm pretty sure Gary outdamaged most of the Kappa's team on this Terra in game one. So I am very excited to see the way this team works. Bodega kind of going for a combo of game one and game two, getting that Cthulhu Nut and Suku from game two and the Terra Disco from game one. I'm intrigued. I don't hate the Bodega team comp, and if your Kappa is looking towards your mid laner, who would you like to see Deacon on? Oh well, never
As he
mind.
hovers the Scylla, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Um,
Yeah,
that's kind of Deacon's signature pick at this point. I've played with him a bunch. Deacon's a good friend. I his Scylla,
monster.
as long as his team can work around his early game, with it being a Scylla, then get him to that mid to late, and he will do Scylla things. I promise.
Yeah, Deacon is a monster on this Scylla, and that is definitely not a play on words. Um, just one of his picks. That's all you can really say about it. Apollo, one of Shadow Skills' top gods. That might be his second most played ADC, I think, behind Artemis. Oh, Jing Tian, can't really go wrong with it. Gilgamesh, formless comfort pick. Ha- I think I've seen player play the Kepri once, but one of those picks that you can't really go too wrong on, can get caught out, but does have the Scarab's blessing to get his teammates out. And so far, looking at both of these team comps, who are we kind of leaning towards? Who are we liking more?
I hmm, this is a tough one for me because I don't like the Suki, but I like the rest of the picks, and I've never seen players Kepri, but I like the rest of the picks. Um, I think as long as player hits his Kepri ults appropriately and isn't trying to zone people out off of objectives as Kepri, I like the Killer Kappa's draft just slightly better on the fact that I know Lin can play this Gilgamesh, and or not Lin, but Formless can play this Gilgamesh. I'm sorry, I'm tired. um, and in my opinion, it's just strictly better than Tsukiyomi. My question marks come in between the solo matchup here, and it's because I think these two gods between Cthulhu and Xingqian are very evenly matched, but Cthulhu brings a little bit more to team fights than Xingqian does.
Yeah, and I think the Jing Tian's going to be good for helping the backline in the case that the Kepri's not able to do everything or the Scarab's blessing is dropped. Jing Tian can peel. He's going to be really good for dive, able to hit the ultimate and throw people back into you, into the Gilgamesh, into the winds of Shamash, the Apollo Mez, the Scylla Crush, Scylla ult. I like the way Kappas are looking, and I do want to say we're in game 3 of the quarterfinals. We have the gauntlet winners facing off against the 4th seed Bodega Hive. Who are you thinking in this game 3? Who are we leaning
It's
towards? Who are we
it's
throwing the money on?
it's 50-50. You got Og on this nut that just went fucking crazy. Oops, it went crazy last game, and you've got Scylla on this late game hyper carry character, and Shadow Skills is on his main god, from what I'm told. So I think this is a really big toss up game, and it's really who can play those late game team fights better.
Oh, who are you picking?
I I I,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
force
know.
you to choose. I'm
You're
gonna force
forcing
you to
you're
pick one.
forcing me to choose. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I will never bet against Deacon Scylla.
All right, so he's going Kappas, and we see early pressure. The shell forced out of the Kepri, and oh my goodness, almost an early first blood for Ogenson as Gary hit a couple walls back to back and managed to force that Kepri back. Player Hone getting caught out a little bit on the Kepri, and still has a couple pots, so going to be able to stay in lane, but a little bit of a low health bar as hits another wall and is double stun. The grab comes out on the Kepri and he might die for that. He's going to. Ogenson grabs the first blood on player Hone, and I'd like to take back everything I said about him being a decent Kepri.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's one of the major drawbacks of playing a Kepri. That 1 through 3 is not very good. And you've got an Apollo there. Terra's got a ton of early game pressure. Um, from what I've seen, Nut does quite a good amount of damage early game as well. So you just gotta play a little safer when you have one of those more passive picks, and your Apollo is not gonna be pumping out damage just yet. Let him get online a little bit before you start inting.
Yeah, and we're going to see a lot of early pressure come out of that duo lane. Once again, lots of fighting early from these teams. It seems like each game it's kind of gone a more of a progressive way. We see another double
Catches it.
stun come out of Derry. The double wall once again grabs two of them, and this Kepri just can't catch a break. Already around a quarter health again, and this time Formless is over here to help out. Just provide a little bit of a security blanket. Right as I say that, he's going to back because I just am wrong about everything. And like you said, the Apollo early isn't going to be able to do much. As we see the Kepri dash come out, the stun by the new Ogenson.
Oh my
Once again,
god.
looking for the
Derry,
wall
stop.
stun again from Derry. Derry once again grabs it. Ogenson grabs his second kill in 2.5 minutes. Derry is spoon feeding his ADC with these walls, and the dash through his the obelisk is. And I don't Derry. This is why we banned Terra from you. That's all I'm gonna say.
That
Monolith, not the
is the
obelisk.
second dash that he's caught in 2 minutes with his walls.
Yeah,
Really making
he's.
me eat my words betting on the Scylla over here, but hey, it's only 3 minutes in.
Smite games aren't won in 3 minutes, but the double mez from the Apollo gets him out. Derry looking for another spoon feed, and yeah, gold lead's already 1,200 in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that
And
is
we
significant.
see Deacon once again getting poked out by Kaibon, this Discordia. One of the picks that he's actually pulled out against us before, and I'll tell you, it's not fun to play against. You know, when he dashes into the circle and you just can't find him. It's not fun into a disco, but
One
like you said,
thing,
the solo lane matchup, not really too much going down over there.
one thing I do want to say is I'm not a huge fan of no conduit on Scylla. Scylla needs conduit for her clear. Um, I'm not a mid main. I'm just a damage player when I play mid, and I like to make things go boom.
Yeah, I mean, valid. That's what mid players do. They make things go boom, and that's I don't know. I've always seen conduit on Scylla too, but you know what? Like we said, Deacon's the Scylla main, not us. So we'll let him cook, and I hope he's not listening because his ego is going to be massive after this one.
Yeah, so I think the rest of the builds are, oh, we're gonna see a huge
Winds of
Gilgamesh
Shamash
drop
comes out.
kick.
We see a two-man drop kick, and they're looking for Sox. I'm a Monster comes out. Sox is forced to expend the ultimate to try and get the kill onto Gilgamesh, and it looks
Oh
like it's going to
no!
be close. Gets the stun. Kaiba picks the kill up onto Formless, and Sox is going to survive barely on about 50 HP, I would assume. And man, once again, he's still not backing to get his Jotuns. And of course, as soon as I say that, he backs. But in that fight, did not have his Jotun, still manages to turn it. And huge play from Kaiba managing to get his jungler out safe.
Can we talk about this nut Apollo real quick? Nut has 5 stacks on Devos already, and Apollo doesn't even have his Transcendence.
Yeah, Shadow being a little bit greedy, not backing, and
Here
Nut's
comes
going
the
to be able to
Terra.
steal away that. There's the Terra, grabs the double stun again. Scarab's Blessing is not used. I don't know why I said it was used. But chasing on the back, Nut goes up into the Skyfall, pulls in Shell expended off of player Hone, and he's at about 1/10 of his HP as the gank did come in from Socks trying to be a last hit warrior, not a last hit merchant, not Socks. But yeah, good pressure, like we said, from the Nut, from the Terra, and like you said, it's got to be in the back of the Kappa's head. Here comes the Terra every time that Dairy pops up on the map.
Yeah, definitely a menace on this pick. Um, I would like to see a little more out of this Gilgamesh. We're not seeing any defense come out of it yet. I do typically see Gilgs go defense after their first item. Usually an Executioner or something along those lines for first item into like a Berserker Shield or a Shogun's or a Void Shield. um, Pestilence pickup here isn't, you know, it, it is what it is there. I think I would have probably went more towards a Genji's there, but that's just me.
Yeah, and we did see as soon as I said, we were talking about Formless doesn't feel active. He manages to steal the blue and the red side of Bodega, but beads used on the Tsukiyomi to get out of the Jing Tieno. Cthulhu just decided to go flying, and once again, you're killing me, ruler. You're killing me. We're seeing we're seeing a lot of aggression come out from Notsucks in this jungle. Like we've said, 3 games in a row, giving up this farm just to keep ganking and ganking and ganking. And we do see a 2-level lead come out in this ADC lane due to the early pressure that, sorry, Ogenson, that Derry has provided in that lane. It's been looking very good for Bodega in the dual lane for all 3 games, to be completely honest with you.
Gilgamesh gets a little quest completion there. Picks him up a tier 1 Salve. Um, we have mana pots on our Suki at 8 minutes. We gotta we gotta not be doing that, brother. It's wasted gold. Buy the wards
I
instead.
just I just enjoy the I enjoy the banter about the Tsukiyomi pick over and over again because it's the same thing with me and the Nut. Not a big fan of the Nut, even though Ogenson has looked good on it. We see the gold lead was at about 12-1300 as Derry needs
Oh,
someone's got it. Oh man, Ogenson picks up the kill, the
that was
solo
the
kill in the
gig.
left
Drop
lane,
kick's good.
and
Ult's good.
comes here comes Gil. Shamash does come out. The Skyfall from the Nut and trying to get away, uses the beads, manages to get away from the Gilgamesh, but picks up the solo kill on the shadow skills, and Ogenson's 3-0 now. Shadow skills not
It's
exactly
criminal.
the smartest thing. Manages to get the steal onto the shield buff, and his junglers here. The ultimate comes out from Tsukiyomi. Gilgamesh just jumped in, but your Nut is really low. I don't know if have the damage as the I Am a Monster comes out as well as the Apollo looking for the Nut. Scylla Crush hits and Deacon picks it up, but Socks on the back end picks up Formless, and now there was just a low health Socks, but Deacon gets hit by the Apple. Kaiba picks up the Scylla as Scarab's blessing used on the Apollo. Is
Oh,
he going to manage to pick up the kill? It wears off, and Derry kills Shadow once again. Not even close. Not Sox manages to get out on about 40, 30 health, something like that. And great response rotation coming out from Bodega. Hive manages to grab a couple more kills, and that lead is right back up to 1500 as they grab this purple buff of Shadow Skills. Not only do you get killed twice, you lose the shield and the purple buff as well.
yeah, but the Scylla got a shutdown kill on this 3-0 nut. So yeah, you're a little bit ahead in duo lane, but your Scylla is essentially caught up at this point as far as gold goes, and Disco's gonna back and get match that gold with a tier 2 item as well.
Yeah, we see the Chronos pendant coming out from the disco for her first item in opposition to the Spear of Deso coming out for the Scylla. And once again, Shadow, you need to quit dashing into the nut. He's 2 levels up on you, and Nut's just kind of better in the 1v1 than Apollo is, in my personal opinion. You could disagree, but definitely a 2 levels up Nut is better than an Apollo at this point. And we do see the double stacking come out once again of Shadow Skills going Transcendence, and unless he goes into Bloodforge, going into that Devil's Gauntlets, we see a 3 level lead now for the Nut, and just doing so much damage at this point in the game.
Yeah, Bodega Hive really making me eat my words here. They're having a phenomenal early game here. I want to see these early objectives pulled. Put your foot on the gas pedal. Do not let up, and get your dub.
Speaking of early objectives, we do see the Gold Fury being looked at for Bodega Hive. I'm not sure if Kappas know about this. Even if they do, they can't really do much, but they are going to drop it. Took a little bit of extra poke as the rotation comes out from Freaky G. Beads expended on the Tsukuyomi trying to get out. Falls to the Jing Tian, and looks like it might be just a response death for Freaky G as his team is still on the way, but they just arrived. Skyfall coming down from Nut, grabs the Jing. Kaiba picks up Deacon, and looks like Kappas thought they had this fight in the bag. And the rotation comes out of Perp Kool-Aid, looking for Freaky, but decides to back off. Look for Gilgamesh instead. Formless on the run from 3. Apollo comes in from the skies looking for something. Derry picks up the kill on the Formless, and Shadow is just ulting in and then instantly turning to run away. Drop down to about a quarter health, and that should be a Gold Fury for Bodega Hive if they decide to take it, as Derry is already there and on it. Tsukiyomi isn't there, but I don't think that the Kappas can really step up and contest. The TP does come in from Freaky G, so there might be something, but it might come down too early. The stun from Kepri is good, does not manage to secure the Gold Fury though, so it's going to go over to Bodega Hive, and that's going to be a 3k gold lead building up on Bodega at 12 minutes.
Formless just sold his tier 1 item to buy another tier 1 item.
He had a change of heart.
Hmm.
Did
Yeah,
get mystical
and
mail though.
you know, at 13 minutes, you have a pretty decent gold lead here, right? So if you're Bodega Hive here, with the lead that you have, I kind of just want to see you deathballing and go do things. Um, you know, there's no objectives up, but there could potentially be farm up for you to get. There's ganks that you could get. You know, you could get your split push game on like this Apollo's doing right now.
That attack speed on the Apollo actually pained me to watch. It's so slow. He's got Transcendence and Demos. He has no attack speed at all. Oh man, especially if he's looking for those 1v1s, it's just not really going to happen. The Nut's just going to be able to. Okay, and there goes Kaiba. Deacon and the goons just end up killing him, and Formless looking for yet another invade. But as Ruler did point out, Kaiba managed to secure the red buff, so really that's a win for him in the 3 or 4v1.
Yeah, but he was 3-0 as well. So that's another shutdown kill. So, I
Speaking of invades,
here
go
they
ahead, go
go.
ahead. Yeah, there you
Um,
go. There's another blue buff. Poor perp.
and I've talked about this before, and I can't wait until Tuesday because the shutdown mechanics in this game are insane. You could be 3, 4 levels up on someone, you die one time, your lead's just gone.
Skyfall does come out of nut, and we see that gold lead diminishing for Bodega really quickly. Drops down to 900 after being at 3K just 2 minutes ago. Killer Kappa's doing a good job of staying in this. Down 6 kills, and you're only down 900 gold is kind of massive from them. And Shadow's just kind of doing Apollo things, split pushing in that side lane. Finally decides to build into a little bit of attack speed. And yeah, he is now a level up on the nut and looking pretty good. Bodega managing to, not Bodega, Kappa's managing to stem the bleeding a little bit from that early game.
Yeah, it's essentially a dead even game at this point. um, your support's still down, so that's your primary experience difference there. The supports are still down, but everywhere else is tit for tat almost. A bracer of Radiance coming out of Terra. Interesting pickup. I I need to touch on this, and I've said it before. Not Socks has got to stop constantly ganking, man. We get it. You're a jungler. You want to gank, but you need to farm. You're 1-1,
Yeah,
3 levels behind a 0-3-1 guild.
yeah, and Formless has done a great job of just shutting his jungle down. We've seen him go on these right side invades, really punishing Sox for not being on timers. And we do see the Winds of Shamash dropped looking for Kaiba Boy. Apple does come out, does not connect, and Sox is in looking for this Gilgamesh. But you are 2 levels down, my friend. It does not look like you are going to be doing as much damage as you thought you were as the jump out from Gilgamesh. But Cthulhu is there. Shadow
Got a
Skills
solo
solos
kill.
Oakenson on the far side, and he shuts all of us up because I was talking about how he was never going to do that. And in response, there's a fight going down the mid. Freaky picks up not Socks. Cthulhu up into the ultimate does not manage to confirm the kill onto the Gilgamesh. So just a clean 2-0 trade for the Killer Kappas. I know one of them was a solo kill, but you trade 1-0 and get a solo kill on your ADC side. That's actually huge for Kappas, and the gold is dead even now.
Yeah, it's actually slightly favoring Kappas. You're gonna see this guild just W key now. Capri is one.
And Capri
Good
dies to the
job, Kaiba.
Pyromancer. Yeah, Kempery dies to the Pyromancer after Kaiba throws one ability out there, and it looks like Kaiba might be paying for that. Throws the apple out, gets the Gilgamesh. He's on 20 health, and he falls to Formless, and now it's just the Terra. It's only Derry against the world. 3v1, Jing Tian uses the ultimate. Kaiba manages to get out of it with the Absolution, and we're just gonna jump on it. The Gilgamesh don't care. With the Shamash comes out, down goes Derry. The drop kick to get the Cthulhu off him, but Gilg is gonna fall to the ultimate of not Seox. Never mind. Perp Kool-Aid's gonna pick up the kill. Sox gets his on Freaky G. 2-2-4 now for the jungler of Bodega Hive, but Kappa's managed to grab the beacon, so they get beacon. They lose their support to the Pyromancer, and all is well as Bodega's circling around this Gold Fury.
Yeah, they should get it here. Scylla's around the corner. She doesn't have a whole lot of mana. Someone's gotta get on top of
Please,
looking out.
please don't tell me. Okay, okay, okay. Bodega secures it, almost loses the life of Perp Kool-Aid for it, but do manage to secure. And yet we saw it. The ultimate does come out from Shadow trying to get there. Decides not to go in, but does go secure his purple buff using his ultimate. And
Yeah,
so
level
far
16 nut.
from yeah, still got the golden shard, but that's okay. You know, golden shard is viable. I'm coping, but golden shard is viable. And I say that I don't even use golden shard anymore. So, but looking at both teams from this from where we're at in the game, 20 minutes in, 12-7, gold's pretty much even. What are you kind of looking for from both sides, other than Derry hitting every single terror stun that there is known to man?
So what I'm seeing here is essentially just fight after fight after fight, but it's split up fights. Um, Apollo's just keeping Nut busy, split pushing, doing Apollo things. But meanwhile, over here in the mid lane, when you're fighting for these pyromancers, you're having a Tsukiyomi in between 2 to 3 people just getting ran at, and now he's so poked he can't do anything, has to expel the Aegis, and it's a TKO essentially. Cthulhu's, yep, there you go. So,
Deacon grabs, sucks in the back, and now they're on the chase. Freaky G on the run has the Scarab's blessing on him, going to wear off, but he does manage to get out. Just a straight 1-for-0 in favor of Kappas, but Bodega says no, we want the Pyromancer, but I think the Cthulhu being that big might have just gave their position away as Freaky G is already back here, and this might have been a bad choice if you're Bodega, as Kappas are just going to take this over. They're at about a quarter of the two, and one combo comes out, and Kaiba's not able to steal away the Pyromancer, but Kappas are looking for a chase, looking to steal away Kaiba's life, and not going to work out, but going to grab one kill onto Notsocks and the Pyromancer. And like you said, just kind of W keying in, not really working out for him. As the dropkick from Gilgamesh just completely whiffs, almost gets him into a big load of trouble. And our side, like you said, Ogunson just kind of going through it in this game three.
yeah, unfortunately, the double stacking does give you a clear advantage in the boxing match if you can get to it. Sugi does not connect the piercing moonlight. A little unfortunate. Not sure that is the fight that he would want at this point anyway. Benevolence over here as well, not upgraded just yet. But what I want to say is I want to see this Terra stay back with the disco and be peeling for him. That's what he was doing in the duo lane. It was working out great. Got the nut an early game lead. What's happened since then, though, is you're seeing this Terra step forward and leave her backline just kind of non-existent. And then this fight gets split up. The Kappa's TKO or kill someone, and it's not a massive lead that the Kappas have here. But earlier in the game, Bodega Hive had a several thousand gold lead, and now it's swung in favor of the Kappas.
That gold lead about 1,500 in favor of the Kappas. Game's kind of just getting out of hand. It feels like for Bodega, Kappas are starting to turn this fight, and honestly, I think that now that we've gotten to this later part, we talked about the double stacking from Apollo, but I'm looking at the mid lane. I'm looking at Deacon. He's going to start hitting, and this Scylla is going to start doing a lot of damage in short bursts. And I don't know if Bodega have the facilities to match that. Like you said, Noxox is just kind of running in, leaving himself available to those abilities. Does have both relics, and we see a fight break out. Ultimates expended from Freaky G and from Kaiba, and there is just a massive brawl going in the mid lane as Cthulhu goes big. He's searching for anything, but health bars aren't getting low enough for anything to really happen. Kappa's on the retreat back to their T1 tower as this beacon does come up, and looks like they saved the fight for before the beacon than rather when the beacon was up, and looks like Bodega is just going to be able to secure that beacon. Please don't lose. Okay, they're going to lose it now, man. Of course they are. As we see the fight come out, Natsiak's ults in. Deacon grabs the kill onto Perp Kool-Aid, and the Tsukuyomi is low. He's going to fall to Formless, and that's going to be 2 kills for the Killer Kappas, and the beacon going over the way of the Killer Kappas. Now gold lead up to 3k as Apollo ults in, going towards the backline, knocks the nut up, beads expended. Terra stun comes out to try and peel. Shadow skills picks up Ogunson and Jing Tian. Oh nope. Shadow skills also grabs Kaiba, grabs the double kill, and they're gonna push down towards this T2 tower. Just Jing Tian, just Apollo. Once again though, you have Derry, a menace on this Terra. Gets the Apollo down to about a quarter health. And this T2 still has not fallen. He's looking to try and get on it. He does. T2 is going to fall, and Kappas are circling Fire Giant. They are looking for it, and with no other member than Terra up for another 5 seconds, looks like it
Oh no.
might just be a free Fire Giant as Gilgamesh forced to jump out, hit with the knockup, and they're just going to sit around Pyromancer and wait for it to respawn.
Yeah, I think if they were gonna go for the fire giant there, they just leave the tier 2 alone and head straight over to fire. But that's neither here nor there. The pyromancer is free either way. Bomb in the pocket, and now you're looking at quite a significant lead here on the Kappas. Tsukiyomi with a
Yeah,
frostbound hammer. Oh brother,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you. I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
I I have nothing to say about it other than it's bad. Um, there's some characters that can utilize that item. You know, you're looking at your Osiris's, your Erlongs, your Bellonas. Um, even if you're feeling spicy, maybe your your collies or something like that you don't really see. But I don't know, man. That's a rough one for
Yeah.
me.
I like letting you have free reign over the jungle build because being a jungler yourself, just like hearing the inside. I think that it's pretty good. But we see both teams kind of resetting. Grab their pyro. Kappas are back to farming as we see Tsukiyomi once again looking for another gank. We are 27 minutes in, and you are not level 20. Why are you ganking still? Please. We see the TP come out from both solo laners. Perp said, "I'm gonna follow you over here" as Freaky gets stunned by Ogenson, and Bodega just keeps taking fights despite being underleveled, and it's kind of starting to get to me. It's starting to bother me a little bit.
Yeah, you're essentially 6K down at this point. There is a 10K XP difference. Man, you had this game early. Now you're taking bad fights. I think you're letting your seeding get ahead of you and not realizing the state of the game.
Yeah, we do see the fight come out. The drop kick of the Gilgamesh onto the Cthulhu. Kappa's grab it. Scylla ultimate able to confirm, but Ogenson grabs Freaky G in the Bodega Hive backline, and that's just going to be one for Gold Fury, which I'm sure the Kappas would take any day as Skyfall comes in. It's a whopping nobody. And Gold lead up to 6,500 as Bodega are looking to push the advantage. They do have a numbers advantage, 5v4, and looks like they want this T1 tower. But Hoganson gonna clean up that kill, grab that T1, and are they gonna push for that T2 or
I
two
would head to
down?
fire.
There is definitely a big objective on the map that you could get at no
Yeah,
cost to yourself. No
I would head
Scylla
to
ultimate
fire.
up, but they're gonna grab this T2 instead, and the crush does come out pretty big. It hits on two, and looks like Bodega are just going to back off and take their T1, take their T2. Got the gold lead down to 4,500. That's a 2K swing just off of that one fight, despite Kappa's grabbing that Gold Fury and also grab the red buff as a consolation, which Cthulhu proceeds to pick up.
Yeah, they're not out of this game yet, but we are slowly approaching. Once you start hitting that 7-8K gold mark, then
Ooh.
man, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, your full tank Cthulhu is taking that much damage from the Scylla. You gotta know something's up as yeah, he's building into that Soul Reaver last. Once he gets that up, it's going to be a lot of damage.
There's just some questionable calls from the Bodega Hive here. As we're gonna see the Kappas go over to this fire giant and they're like, "Hey, let's go ahead and grab this." As the Terra is the only one there. Very tanky this Terra is though.
Not tanky enough to survive five people on top of her as Derry falls to formless, and it looks like that fire might have been a bait just to see who steps up. As Kaiba also steps up, and now Killer Kappas are chasing Freaky G once more, and it's a 5v4. No Terra ultimate. I would just send it towards this fire giant. You have the Scylla. I am a monster for secure, and looks like that's exactly
Oh
what the
no.
plan is. As Discordia gets caught out, the blinks come through, and Gilgamesh is in, gets hit with the apple, but it does not matter. Skyfall comes out of nut and Net is on the run, falls to the I'm a Monster Deacon with the snipe, and that's 3 dead. For Bodega Hive, Tsukuyomi uses the ultimate to try and salvage something. Not going to be able to. And this whole while, Kappas have just been on the Fire Giant doing it, winning a 3v5 as their Apollo is just taking FG. And once again, Freaky G zoning 2 people, trying to stop them. And he takes a little poke, backs off. But that's a free Fire Giant. Or the Killer Kappas could not have waited an extra 8 seconds for EFG. But great job by Freaky G once again managing to zone out, and yeah, they probably should have just picked up the pyro.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is just questionable choices made by the Bodega Hive. You kind of trickled in there a little bit. Derry died. Um, you know, he was kind of hoping they were gonna commit to Fire Giant and go for the steal. Is what was going through his mind there. But then you go in one at a time, and you get picked off. And now they have a Fire Giant. Yes, it's not enhanced, but Fire Giant is still Fire Giant. And they're winning these fights.
Yeah,
They're
and
gonna go through
Goldley's
here.
bloomed. Go ahead.
They're gonna go through here, grab a Pyromancer. They're gonna have a massive advantage on these sieges. And at this point, I think it's Killer Kappa's game to lose.
Yeah, Kappas do grab that Pyromancer. Hopefully somebody picks up the bomb. Looks like it's going to be the Kepri, and in response, Bodega does, I would say, the smart thing. It just goes and takes that Primal Fury. Almost does get it, does get it stolen away as Shadow is making his way over there with the ultimate, but decides to go back to the right side as there's a huge fight going on. Apple connects for Discordia, and Gilgamesh is low. The Jingtian ult is huge, managing to get him out. And Tsukiyomi is in the backline on Deacon, hits him with the wrap, and Not Socks manages to pick up Deacon, but his health bar is low. It looks like Freaky G is going to be looking for that. The Aegis used manages to get the Tsukiyomi out. Cthulhu going big and, and gets baited by the TP pad. The Apollo is just pushing down this right Phoenix, doing Apollo things, but used his ult. So gonna be kind of a sneaky way to try and gets out. Walks over a ward, but Sox is gonna decide not to chase. Just go grab that speed buff and fully worth it. Killer Kappas, grab Relic off of Tsukiyomi. They do lose Deacon, but you also get that right Phoenix in exchange. And not Killer Kappas. Bodega Hive are looking for this T2 tower on the right side as we see, yeah, the Void Doomaru on the Cthulhu.
The
Or no, not
Terra's
on the
got it as
Cthulhu, on
well.
the Terra. The Terra, 2 Void Doomarus coming out. And what are your thoughts on that? As Tsukiyomi ults to try and fight this 2v1. Gets in there, gets mezzed by the Apollo, and he's just dead.
um, it's fine to have on one person. You don't want it on your support though. Cthulhu having it is okay. You're gonna lose your third Phoenix here, more than likely. We're just gonna W key here. Hope it works out.
He's gonna end for the Phoenix. Can he get it? Shadow Skill's trying to do it. Does not. Derry picks him up. That Phoenix is super low, and the ultimate was expended by Cowboy. The Apple of Discord did come out, as well as Derry, and they just used low health bars on the Discordia. Freaky G trying to get in there. Terra comes out with a big dash stun, manages to get Kaiba Boy out and save, but you lost 2 Phoenixes, almost 3 if you're Bodega, and like you said,
Now, this
Apples
is an
look good.
important part of the game because Kappas was in this almost this exact same situation in game one, and it took them 3 or 4 sieges to actually close out the game, even with 3 Phoenixes down. Um,
Yeah, so we're going to be looking for a little bit more clinical finish from the Appas, and we see the gold lead up at 10k. Most people in this game are full build, getting there anyways, and so gold lead doesn't matter as much, but you have Fire Giant worn off of the Killer Kappas, going to be looking for that now. If you're Kappas, I'm not going to lie, this might be because I'm scummy, but I'm sending Apollo down the left lane to take that Phoenix. try and backdoor the Phoenix, and then as soon as they respond, ult over towards that fire giant and just get it going.
Yeah, I mean it's an EFG. The thing is they have two Phoenixes down. They really can't take the prolonged fight here. Um, what's a prolonged fight when
The
you get swarmed by four Kappas?
Yep, the one
Um,
person the fight will not be prolonged for is Derry as he falls in the matter of seconds. Shadow Skills manages to pick that kill up, and looks like that's just going to be it. That's going to be the call for the Fire Giant for Killer Kappa's 10K gold lead, 35 minutes in, and EFG is on their minds. EFG is on the plate. No contest coming out from Bodega, and looks like this is just going to be a free FG for the Killer Kappas.
yeah, I mean, again, the Bodega boys can't really step up to it. Like Derry went and kind of entered there. Not gonna lie, he's at this point. I feel like Derry's costing more than he's helping. Um, but they're gonna get this beacon. This game, I'm sorry, this game's over. There's nothing that I can see out of hand that the Bodega Hive can do at this point to get back in it. There's four bombs.
Yeah, and yeah, four pyro bombs as they march down looking for this left Phoenix. They did just grab Oni Fury. They're gonna have Oni waves marching along with Oni fire waves to be exact, marching down with their siege. And we see Apollo hit the back, finishes out that build. And we do see two Phoenixes coming up for
Oni
for
fire minions.
Bodega. Third one coming on out, and we see a split. We saw this in game one when Kappas were sieging. They go for this 4-1 split, with Formless being the one on the other side, and we see two members, the two backliners of Bodega Hive, are in the right side. So if you're in the left, you honestly just go in. Make one of them stay over there with the Gilgamesh. You just go for it. They don't have much damage other than that Discordia, who you just saw in mid on Vision. You kind of just got to send it in for this Phoenix and not play so scared.
They're playing it safe. I get it. But you got to look at how much of an advantage you have. You use one bomb on this thing, you get a pick, you walk into the throne room, drop all three of your bombs on the Titan, and it dies.
Cthulhu goes up into the air. Cthulhu goes big, trying to push them out. They did lose that left Phoenix. Formless does take the right Phoenix, and looks like Kappas are trying to end, but they got poked out. Shadow Skills is poked. Jing Tian on the run. Freaky G trying to get away. Crush does come out from Scylla, but Bodega Hive is on the offensive with all these fire waves pushing in. Looking for something is Not Socks and Derry trying to make something happen in order to get this game right. Still five members with EFG on Killer Kappas and fire waves pushing down middle, left, and right. If you're Kappas, you're just full sending it, aren't you? I should already know this by now.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it now. You used three bombs to get one Phoenix, basically. So now you're in a situation to where you're forced to take a fight to get into the Titan room because you no longer have that massive true damage on the Titan. And as we've seen before, Bodega Hive can defend their Titan.
Yeah, we do see, once again, 38 minutes in not really mattering too much other than 3K 500 pots, 18,000 on the gold lead. Keeping this pressure up on Bodega, we're going to see another long Titan defense like we did see in game one. Something about Bodega and Killer Kappas and not wanting to end the game is seems like a bit of a conspiracy theory that they just aren't trying to end it all.
Well, they're just trying to play super safe. They don't want to risk it. And I get that. I really do. But at a certain point in time, you just gotta commit, you know. And now Bodega Hive is in the situation to where if they successfully defend their base 2 to 3 times, get some phoenixes up, they can find themselves in a position to where they can take a fight, and then they can take another fight, and potentially come back and get the game.
Yeah, and Ogenson, if you're watching, please, I pray to you, stop building Silver Branch on Nut. Please. You're getting about 6 stacks, 10 if if someone as I don't even remember what it is, the war banner, yeah. 10 if the war banner your support's near you. So it is not even worth it. Just build crit, please. But yeah, like you said, just kind of going all in, but it looks like they just want to go for this EFG and then maybe go for the end after that. Kappa's playing super safe once again, waiting for this EFG, playing principled, I guess is what we will call it. As a Bodega, if you're Bodega, do you step up to contest this, or do you just let them have and try and turtle in your own base again?
Just let them have it. Clear the fire waves. Don't step up. Um, yes, it's EFG, but you need to look at the builds. They're gonna have a slight advantage, yes. But going into that throne room, you have two phoenixes that are giving. Alrighty.
Speed buff on Cthulhu and also goes up into the ultimate, trying to take that fire giant, but unfortunately just did it a little bit too early. Thorns popped, and he's got 5 people chasing him from Killer Kappas, and the 2-man stun comes out of Freaky G, and that is a poked out Cthulhu. If you're the Kappas, you just got to run while he runs back to base. But they're just going to wait. They got Phoenixes coming up. One down. The one in left has fire minions on it as well that are not cleared out, and that might be the second going down. That's all 3 birds
Yeah.
up and down within a 5-second span as the Kappas are looking to try and make something happen.
Yeah,
Both teams just
unfortunately,
kind of feeling each other out.
unfortunately, again, you just gotta sit back and defend your phoenixes. Let them come up. You used your biggest detriment there, being the descent into madness for uh, a defense base or a base defense rather, and
Oh,
this should just be it
pause
here.
you on that thought. We see 2 mans pulled back by Freaky G. It looks like the Winter Shamash do come down. That Titan is down at about a quarter. The Skyfall comes down, grabs a couple. Scylla is dead. Deacon is down. Ogenson
Guys,
picks up the kill. Gilgamesh is in there on a belt. No health. Freaky G picks up a kill. Ogenson picks him back, and Titan is still alive. But Apollo is circling. Apollo comes back down. Freaky G, or Freaky G, player falls, and Shadow Skills grabs the last 2 hits on the Titan, and the Killer Kappas take down the number 4 seed Bodega Hive for the special chance of facing off against the number 1 seed Cyberpunk Otters in the next round. And as a member of those Cyberpunk Otters, how are we feeling about that matchup, Barry Toppings?
uh, good luck, have fun, bring your A game. That's all I gotta say about it.
All right. And we saw the number 11 turned 8 seed just take down the number 4 seed Kappas, continue to run hot, only losing one out of their last, I believe, 7 games that they've played. So 6-1 in their last 7, and looking to take on the Giants of the Walker Division next week in the semifinals. I have been T Pity One, your chair one. We had Barry Toppings on chair 2 and Ruler of Men on the spectate. We appreciate you guys for tuning in for this quarterfinals matchup. We will see you guys later.